Boys in the back. Boys in the back. Boys
Edition of the Boys in the Back. This time on a beautiful May afternoon here in New York City. It is foggy. It is rainy. It's a little bit cold, but we're in for a good show. Inside, I am 1/3 of the Boys in the Back. Connor Burks joined alongside me as always. Is this your highlight of the week right here?
This show is my highlight of the week. I love this.
I was gonna say is getting to do
just the intro.
It's become iconic.
No, it's not. But this show I adore.
When your wife says something to you at home, like and it's like obvious, so you're just like,
hello. No, this is exclusively for this show, and so soccer celebrations have been spawned from this. Maybe when somebody has a child, they will do that in the delivery room upon the birth of the
sir, it's a
king.
boy.
But no, it is not my favorite thing. This show as a whole is my favorite thing. I've come to love these Thursdays like nothing else.
It's really great, man. We just get to sit here and yap to finish our week out. It's
just yapping it up.
Is there anything better?
No. It's the best.
And boy, do we have a lot to yap about today.
Yes, we do.
Ilia Topuria been doing some yapping. Islam Makhachev has been doing some responding.
Yeah.
Said yapping. We obviously got the announcement earlier this week. If you've been living under a rock and you didn't see it, on Tuesday evening, Dana White went live on Instagram and announced that International Fight Week will be headlined by Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title.
But if it's vacant, that means...
I was going to say, which means Islam Makhachev is moving up to the welterweight division 170 to take on Jack Della Maddalena to become a 2-division champion. Unfortunately, it won't be
double champ
because it is vacated. So the way we wanted to kick off the show today is with the conversation, Islam Makhachev leaving 155, going up to 170. Does he leave his mark? Does he leave the division? He could come back. Who knows? You never know. He could come back. Does he leave the division as the lightweight GOAT?
It's an interesting debate.
It's a very interesting debate. So let's take a path to kind of, there's been a lot of great lightweights in the history of the UFC, in the history of mixed martial arts.
Yes.
So let's just go ahead and let's quickly narrow it down.
Yes.
I think you needed to be an undisputed UFC champion to be considered the lightweight GOAT in this division, in 155.
The only pushback I would have against that is there's an early era where UFC pried other organizations. Somebody in that space could have had a claim to it, like a Takanori Gomi or somebody along those lines. But I believe that we've advanced so far in history that the wealth of talent that has come through the UFC's lightweight divisions and the names that we will inevitably narrow this down to had to have all been undisputed UFC champions. So there might have been a time in the past where that would not have been true, but I do believe now the pool only includes undisputed UFC champions.
That quickly narrows it down to 12 names.
Yeah.
Jens Pulver.
Yep.
Sean Shirk.
Yep.
BJ Penn. Frankie Edgar. Benson Henderson. Anthony Pettis. RDA. Eddie Alvarez. Conor McGregor. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Charles Oliveira. Islam Makhachev.
I believe that nobody will have a GOAT that is not from that list.
I agree.
Unless I'm overlooking something, but I don't believe so. Everybody who participates in this debate, their GOAT will probably come from that list.
I agree. Now, let's narrow it down even more to names that defended their belt multiple times. Not just like Conor McGregor has no title defenses. There's a couple guys in there that only have one. That narrows us down to 7, technically 6. It narrows us down to Jens Pulver, BJ Penn, Frankie Edgar, Benson Henderson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev. And then I'm technically counting Charles Oliveira because of the Gaethje missing weight by a half pound. Didn't count as a title win for him, but he was the lightweight champion. It was in his reign. And he won a title fight. So technically, we're adding Charles Oliveira in there. And then I think from that list of 7, you can then narrow it down to 3 names that people are going to strongly consider that I think the vast majority of people are going to have as their lightweight GOAT, and it's going to come from BJ Penn, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Islam Makhachev. I think those are the 3 names.
Yeah, and amongst those 7, I think there's some fantastic, notable lightweights we're talking about who maybe could have entered the conversation, but because of what Islam, Khabib, and even BJ were able to do during their time, have kind of like pushed them out of it. Like, because as an example, right? BJ Penn would potentially be in this conversation as one of the top 3, but has 2 losses to Frankie Edgar. No, 3 losses to Frankie Edgar. One came at featherweight, but
correct.
2 losses to Frankie Edgar at lightweight. And so the logic would dictate, well, actually, how is Frankie not in the conversation if BJ is? Then we get into the whole conversation we had when we were debating Volk versus Aldo about, like, do the losses mean that you can't be in the convo? Ultimately, though, I do believe that most people will have one of those 3.
At the end of this, we'll do our lightweight Mount Rushmore, which I think is a very interesting conversation. Who you have as that 4th guy, or maybe there's some people out there who only have 2 of the dudes we just listed on Mount Rushmore and 2 other ones in there. Let's start with the man that just left the division for 170, Islam Makhachev.
Yes.
I think something that is most interesting about Islam Makhachev, going back through his resume, is he has fought his entire career at lightweight. He has, I believe, 30 fights now, 29-1. 2 catchweight bouts, one at 160, I believe, against Bobby Green, and then one earlier on in his career. And then accolades that go with that. Most lightweight title defenses, 15-fight win streak, which is good for longest win streak in lightweight history in the UFC. And he has 10 finishes at lightweight as well. Like, he's not just winning by decision, he is finishing his opponents. Highlight victories, Volk twice, Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier. Renato Moicano counts as a title defense. Dan Hooker, Arman Tsarukyan earlier in his career, but still a valiant win. It is an incredible resume.
Yes, and I don't want to give up anything too soon, but it's a pretty impressive resume compared to even the competition that is in this conversation.
Khabib Nurmagomedov, the man in Islam Makhachev's corner throughout his UFC career, one of his best friends, a brother, I think you would call him, not by blood, but just by how close of a bond they have. Undefeated.
Did he ever compete outside of lightweight?
He did. 10 fights at welterweight. So almost his entire career leading up to his UFC career was at welterweight.
Got it.
And then I believe he had 1 catchweight bout in the UFC. But everything else in his UFC career was at lightweight. 13-0 in the UFC, 3 title defenses, wins over, just like Islam Makhachev, over Poirier, but then he also has Gaethje, McGregor, RDA, Ali Aquinta, Edson Barboza, 7 finishes, 6 decisions for Khabib Nurmagomedov. The biggest point being the 3 title defenses. Some of those names are incredible that he has wins over, but he is also undefeated, never lost. You know, the old thing, we never saw Khabib bleed, you know, barely lost a round. Like, it's a sterling record.
It's to me, one of the, we talked about, I forget what the context was. We were talking about records that would never be broken. It's not a record, but I do not believe that anybody who reaches the championship level, the status that Khabib has reached, will ever walk away undefeated. Will ever, because as we get into Khabib's resume, the biggest fights for Khabib were the last 3, were the back end of his career. And what inevitably happens when you're in those fights, now you're making more money and more money and more money and more money. And so the next fight after Justin Gaethje could have potentially been his biggest payday. And the one after that could have been an even bigger payday. And he inevitably, he walked away from what was inevitably going to be the most prime earning potential period of his entire career. And I just don't see anybody else doing that same thing. So that 29-0 is vaunted in my mind, is going to be like something that nobody will ever quite do exactly the same way.
Yeah, and you make a great point with the money. I mean, imagine what a 30-0, him going for the clean 30-0 record, you know, fulfilling dad's promise, everything like that, would go for. And then imagine if they could have made it happen, a rematch with Conor.
A rematch with Conor.
The money that would have come from that.
All these other guys, the Charles Oliveira fight near the end of Khabib's career, people were talking about Charles, and it was starting to pick up some steam.
The timeline was aligning. I mean, I think Charles fought for the vacant title
on the next fight,
that Khabib vacated.
And so that could have made tons of money. There would have been now. What if Khabib
going up to welterweight?
Or what if Khabib was in that position when Volkanovski inevitably starts to come up? Like, all these fights could have been huge money and huge for Khabib's resume. He cut it off before that opportunity. And so that's why I don't think this will ever be replicated in quite that same way.
Also, on top of everything we're saying, who knows where Islam Makhachev is at?
If he's not
Khabib
there.
holds on to that belt and sees how long
Maybe
he can run
he
with,
jumps to 170. Maybe he goes up sooner rather than later. Or maybe Khabib,
goes up to 170.
There's a lot of his.
There's a lot of ifs, but we
There's a lot
have
of-
29-0. We have the Sterling record. We have what happened.
There's a lot of ifs. The end of his career opened a lot of doors that may have potentially gone different ways. There was a butterfly effect. It completely changed the course of history. But we can only look at what we actually have. We can only look at what's on paper when we make this determination.
Okay, then the third guy that we mentioned
BJ Penn,
earlier, one of your favorites,
my favorite.
the man that sort of like really birthed your diehard fandom.
100%.
14 fights outside of the lightweight division.
Yes.
Several being at featherweight, several being at welterweight. He moved throughout the divisions.
Even some against Lyoto Machida at light heavyweight. Because he's
I
a
saw
sick
that
person.
on the records. 10-5-1 at lightweight in the UFC. He does have wins over Renzo Gracie and the aforementioned Takanori Gomi outside of the promotion. 3 title defenses. Wins over Joe Stevenson, Sean Shirk, that we mentioned was a champion as well. Kenny Florian, Diego Sanchez, Jens Pulver, who was also one of these lightweight champions. I just think, this is a overall resume greatest lightweight of all time, not like who was the best at their peak, who was like the unbeatable guy. I think the fact that he has 5 losses within the division. He is 0-2 at lightweight against Frankie Edgar, another guy that we mentioned in this. Who is on that short list of GOATs. I just feel like he's got the same amount of title wins as Khabib. He has less than Islam. I feel like it's just hard to make the case for him being over them.
In our featherweight discussion, when we were talking about Jose Aldo and Alexander Volkanovski and trying to determine the GOAT of that division, I said that I believe Aldo is still the greatest, but Volk is the best. I feel that there are some who would make the case for BJ Penn. Ariel Helwani famously has long said it, like he thinks BJ might have been the best lightweight at his peak. And I think there's people who are old enough to remember that would potentially make that case. I think I'm a little bit off that corner now. I think it's a conversation. I would have liked to see a prime BJ Penn versus a prime Khabib or an Islam or somebody like that. We're not going to get that.
Because I'm not one of those guys that's old enough. I've only been able to watch the BJ Penn highlights.
Was special.
Go back on on y'all's recommendations and watch the ones where he's licking the blood, everything like that. The Sean Shirk fights. So yeah, I'm really just a highlight watcher when it comes to BJ Penn.
He did himself no favors in his career. Never really. There was how they have the mythical fighters like the TRT Vitor and all these like motivated BJ was one of the like mythical fighters because there were times that it seemed like he just came in disinterested or not in great shape and he did himself no favors. But when he was motivated, when he was in his prime, when he was tearing through lightweights, even with that little departure up to go fight GSP who completely blanked him. BJ was special, man. The combination of the hands, the combination of the boxing with the otherworldly balance and takedown defense, like he was just a freak. Like people would get in on his legs and he's one leg like bouncing to the back to the cage to the point that it looked like something we've never seen before. That guy might have been the best, but I think at this point I would potentially have another best. And so ultimately, I agree with you on the greatest conversation. I think he has to be number 3 and off to the side.
Some other guys that we mentioned, if you just wanted to make the case for him, to make the case, Frankie Edgar, 3 title defenses. One was a draw to Gray Maynard, but he retained the belt. 2-0 against Penn at lightweight, but he was 0-2 against one Benson Henderson, and he spent literally half his career at featherweight and bantamweight.
There were some dicey ones in there, but we'll continue. Shout out to Shaheen Al-Shadi.
On the record. Benson Henderson, WEC champ, UFC champ, 3 title defenses, 2-0 against Frankie.
Yeah.
0-2 in his career against Anthony Pettis.
We're doing a little bit of a round robin situation.
Yeah, it's kind of turning out like the featherweight division with
Pettis
these,
lost
with
to
these
RDA.
guys. Yes, exactly.
RDA losses to Khabib.
Yeah. Charles Oliveira obviously started his career at featherweight. Tied for the 3rd most lightweight wins with 16. 2nd most finishes in the history of the division with 14. 2nd most subs with 10. Do you want to know who he's behind in all of these?
Habib?
Jim Miller.
Jim Miller.
The longevity of Jim Miller. Shout out, legend.
Is he the lightweight GOAT?
I was going to say, do we throw Jim Miller out there? 3 title fight wins an 11-fight win streak. When he went on that run from like, is Charles Oliveira a quitter? What is this guy's career? He's 10-10 or whatever he was in the UFC. When he strung off from 2019, I believe it was, all the way through the Gaethje win, was 11 straight wins for the guy. But does have a loss to Islam. Got a title shot against Islam Makhachev, went head-to-head with him, lost, and he does have 5 losses in the UFC at lightweight. So I think for like the round robin of losses and everything with Frankie Edgar, Benson Henderson, Charles Oliveira, I still feel like the 3 we came up with is solid, and I would go Islam 1, Khabib 2.
So you're Islam 1.
Yeah.
I think I'm ultimately there as well, and it's for the fact that I think his top wins are better than Khabib's top wins. And that's ultimately because we're just splitting hairs here when it comes to Khabib and Islam, right? Their paths are similar. Outside of the Adriano Martins, shout out Davi Ramos, loss, we're looking at 2 guys who are just unstoppable in the UFC. Like, they got to the top level and they showed that they could not be beaten by anybody up there. I think Islam had the most vulnerable moment after becoming like championship level, and that's against Volk in that first fight, right? Like, Volk, for all intents and purposes, could have potentially won that fight on the scorecards. Some people scored it for him. I did not, but it would have been a reasonable case. I don't think we ever saw Khabib look that vulnerable. Now, certainly there will be people who will point to the Gleason-Tebow fight where it was close and Tebow was landing some solid shots. I'm talking once we kind of get beyond that. If we're going back that early, then you go back to Islam's loss and you can kind of point to that there. But he looked Khabib looked less vulnerable in my mind. But when you compare the strength of schedule, Khabib's resume after, so Gaethje, Poirier, McGregor, those are the last 3 wins for him. That's as solid as it gets. Conor McGregor, champion. Dustin Poirier, title contender. Like, one of the best who's ever done it in that division. Justin Gaethje, extremely tough guy. Seemingly, like, that might have been Gaethje's peak at that level where he was heading into that fight. Like, finished them, looked very impressive. But when you get beyond that, it's like Ally Aquinta on very, very short notice, right? He stood and like boxed with him to a kind of like ho-hum decision. Edson Barbosa, unanimous decision. The Michael Johnson Kimura, and then it's like Daryl Horcher again. Now, no fault of Khabib's, right? This is a Tony, like
Correct.
The Tony Ferguson thing has thrown this all into whack, because if he gets that Tony Ferguson win, I think his resume looks significantly better. Tony was the guy at the time that everybody was like, he's the one to push him. He never got that opportunity. Again, not by Khabib's fault. There were times that it was Tony and not Khabib that fell out of that fight. A solid win over RDA, but then it's like Pat Healy, Abel Trujillo. It falls apart near the bottom. Whereas with Islam, Renato Moicano, again, not his fault, right? This is short notice.
Could you compare the Renato Moicano to the Ally?
That seems similar to me, right? But then you start to
also Islam just ran through
destroyed
Renato
him.
Moicano.
Destroyed him. Now, again, Khabib wanted to strike that fight. Who knows what that looks like if he wants to grapple more. But shout out to Ally Aquinta, the best real estate agent in the business. An amazing fighter, an awesome dude. Who knows what that fight looks like if he does? We don't know. But ultimately, he wanted to box that fight. Dustin Poirier, same. They both have a win over Dustin Poirier. A great fight. Islam also finishes late. Khabib was able to get it done a little bit earlier. But then Alexander Volkanovski. Now, I get it. He's coming up from featherweight. I understand that completely. I'm with everybody who would make the case here. But that is the number 2 or number 1 pound for pound guy in anybody's eyes at that time. Those are very significant wins for the resume of Islam Makhachev. Before that, you go to Charles Oliveira, who at the time was looking like an absolute killer, somebody that Khabib never did face, and everybody was clamoring for that fight.
Ended the win streak. Began this incredible kind of run. Before that, King Green was not supposed to be King Green. Was supposed to be Beneil, I think, or was supposed to be some other matchup that was going to propel him. Who was that supposed to be? When Beneil stepped in on short notice in February 2023 or 2022.
Bobby Green stepped in.
It was Dariush. It was Dariush.
Okay, so then there you go. So was supposed to be him. A Hooker win that, Hooker has now hung around the top of this division for a long time.
Also ran through him like shit through a 10 horn.
And Thiago Moises, Drew Dober. Some of these like lower fights on his resume are names that I think are above. And then you get to Davi Ramos, who did not beat him, by the way. And
Arman
you get to
Tsarukyan.
Arman Tsarukyan, and you go, okay, so that's a name that's earlier in the career that all of a sudden looks a little bit better now in hindsight for how good we know Arman Tsarukyan to have been. Again, he might have gotten a title defense against Arman Tsarukyan instead of against Renato Moicano if that event had gone off as planned. You got Cajun Johnson. He has a dominant win over Gleison Tebow, who, as I said, pushed Khabib a little bit in his early fights. So
Well, Khabib, I will say, Khabib was an underdog in that fight, plus 135.
yeah, Gleison was the man at that time. Like Gleison, maybe not the man, but Gleison was like somebody who had established
Solid-ass
himself.
dude.
Yeah, had established himself. And Khabib was coming in as this wrestler that like people didn't quite know much about. But either way, just if you look top to bottom, I give the edge to Islam in terms of strength of schedule, and I just discount the loss. Like I just think it was a lightning in a bottle, right moment, right time. Guy got caught. The argument against Khabib in terms, if you ask me to argue against Khabib in an all-time greatness conversation, to me, leaving before your prime is over hurts you in that conversation, in my mind. And here's why. Every single time you step out there, it gets harder and harder as you get slower and slower and older to maintain that undefeated record. The next time out might have been the time Khabib loses. The next time out after that might have been the time Khabib loses. And so him leaving before it was all said and done, to me, hurts your all-time legacy as opposed to helps it, because we didn't see you fight the guys that were starting to line up and go through the new crop, the younger up-and-coming generation. As an example, right? Why I think it's an inarguable case for John Jones is fighting the Dominic Reyes. Now, some will say he lost that fight, but is fighting the Dominic Reyes and is fighting those top light heavyweights as the new generation and the older generation that he ran through. It gets harder and harder and harder. And so if John Jones just retired after one of these fights that we just recently had, we'd be like, he's undefeated, Matt Hamill loss excluded, and he can't be touched. By cutting it off before you've had a chance to lose, I think it hurts your case rather than helps your case, actually. Either way, I say all that to say, Khabib could have racked up 10 more wins against elite, crazy level competition and would have made him maybe the solidified number one in the GOAT overall conversation, not just the lightweight GOAT conversation. But to me, Islam Makhachev continuing to do it and getting to this point put him slightly ahead. And now, does he ever come back to lightweight? Does he ever extend on this? Who knows? But for now, I do believe that he surpassed Khabib.
Yeah, so let's say that the stories are written, that it's done. He
I've
never
got
comes back to
Islam.
155. You still have Islam.
Yeah, I've got Islam.
I think I do too, just because of everything that we went through. I think that the Martins fight he just got caught early in his career. It was a decade ago at this point. He has since racked up 15 straight wins, the most consecutive wins in lightweight history. The level of competition, like you mentioned it, Volkanovski, I understand he's a featherweight, but like pound for pound
number
guy.
one at that
Pound
time.
for pound guy who had not lost in an eternity before going up against Islam Makhachev. So yeah, man, I think it's very close. I think it's between them two. I think you're kind of picking your poison with them just because of the lack of blemishes on their record. The one loss for Islam Makhachev and the 0 losses for Khabib Nurmagomedov, and the dominance with which they won. Like, even when Islam is going to wars, like, he's finishing these guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rare that you see him, like, sneak by on a split decision. You're like, not so sure about that one. Like, it's like he is, like, the Poirier fight was one of the best fights of 2024.
Incredible
The
fight.
Volk first fight, one of the best fights of 2023. Like, this guy is going out, putting on wars, finishing people,
guys.
doing it at the highest level as a champion, fighting whoever steps up, and doing it for an extended period of time now.
There will be somebody who will, in the comments, and I know this to be true, will be crying, well, he didn't step up against everybody because he's running and ducking Ilia. I guarantee somebody will say that, by the way, because I've seen a lot of that online.
I promise you, the guy who has it painted above the mirror in his gym, that's like, what does the belt signify? The belt signifies that you're willing to fight anybody on any day, whenever, wherever. The dude who has 28 professional fights against the best in the world that was trained by Khabib with this killer mentality.
Not duck.
Promise you, he is not afraid to fight Ilia Topuria. He is going up to 170 to chase greatness, to get a second belt in a second division. And honestly, I don't think the Ilia fight is completely dead also.
No, neither do I.
I think there is a chance that Islam still has more to write at 155.
I want to circle back to that because I think that's important as we get to the Ilia stuff. I have one final question, and we're going to end it the same way we ended the featherweight one. Who is the best lightweight of all time?
I think I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev just because I wasn't there for the BJ Penn run. I can only see highlights, and I can only see the full scope of his career of bouncing between featherweight up to welterweight, back to lightweight, ending his career like 16-14, like the horrible losing streak to end it all. Like, I can only see the complete picture. I can't see like the peak and like the
belief
belief of like, oh my gosh, this guy was untouchable.
So I have a different answer.
Okay.
I think Khabib is the best lightweight of all time.
Okay, but we didn't get to see the resume get built out.
Not the greatest. I've got Islam as the greatest. For my money, I don't think anybody beats Khabib. And now, I'll say this. I think Islam is more well-rounded. I think Islam is better suited for multiple title defenses because I think with strikers, he can strike. With grapplers, he can grapple. And he's probably better than you in both of those realms, right? The striking is fantastic. The grappling is fantastic. He's so well-rounded. But for my money, the dominance with which Khabib Nurmagomedov wrestled, the dominance with which he was able to put people in situations where they had no answers and were just drowning. He just drowned every single person that he stepped in there with, except Ally Quinty. He wanted to box a little bit. Again, if he got a hold of you, if you were in any kind of position for him to grab you, it was pretty much a wrap. And I don't think I've seen anybody who was able to do it quite like him, especially with, by the end, the level of competition he's facing, and then he's grappling with Justin Gaethje and subbing him with subs that he says he's going to do, and all the crazy like storytelling that's around that. To me, I think Khabib was the best I've seen. But I will say,
yeah, I mean, you may have changed my mind. I feel like I didn't prep enough going into the best lightweight of all time.
Islam may have some better performances ahead of him, which is crazy to think about. Again, we didn't see Khabib against more guys that I wanted to see him face. I wanted to see Charles Oliveira. I would have loved to see Dustin get another crack. How good he looked against Islam. I would have loved to see Dustin get another crack at Khabib Nurmagomedov. The first one, he completely folded. He admitted it. He learned from it. I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see a guy like a Justin Gaethje potentially get another crack down the line, or Michael Chandler, or any of these guys that have now come up that have been in the title conversation. I would have liked to see it. Or Volk would have been the one facing Khabib. Ultimately, we didn't get it. But for my money, on a given night, if you put Khabib in a cage with another lightweight, my money is always going to be on Khabib. Even Islam Makhachev, although I don't believe we would ever have seen that matchup.
All right, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's throw out the Ilia matchup. Like, what do we, Dana, how much is it going to cost? $30 million for John Jones. How much is it going to cost Khabib to come back?
There is not enough money in the world.
Islam, 155 title, 155 goat on the line.
So you have to imagine that the number that Dana White told Khabib to come back was astronomical, right? Like we're talking about what kind of money John Jones versus Tom Aspinall is demanding. The amount of money that Dana White probably offered to Khabib to come back would have blown people's minds, and he turned that down. There's not an amount of money that it seems like can get him back in the cage. And then you further that with fight your brother, Islam Makhachev. Like, there's just no chance in hell. I don't think there would have been a price.
If Islam won't fight Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
there's no
do we
world,
buy that, though? Do we actually
no
believe
world
that?
on earth that he's fighting Khabib.
Do we actually believe that?
All right. I think the thing, like, between these two best, greatest, whatever, I think Islam and Khabib are right there. But I really think that they are the 1-2. When you just look at the resume, the way in which they were able to do it, the dominance that they have shown, and honestly, you could make a case, an even stronger case for Khabib, because it's just like, is there an Islam Makhachev without Khabib Nurmagomedov?
And certainly without Abdulmanap, right? Abdulmanap, being able to create the lineage of these incredible fighters. We even have, obviously, we're not even talking in the conversation about Umar Usman, another lightweight, not just like lightweight division, another lightweight who is in PFL and might eventually find his way to the UFC.
Gets another win over Paul Hughes, comes to the UFC, becomes a lightweight champion, starts building his resume. Yeah. You just never know. You just never know. Yeah, the camp that they have out there is insane. All right, before we move on from this, we are in agreement. Like the 1-2, however you flip it, Islam, Khabib.
Yeah.
We're going with
Islam. I think BJ sneaks into the best for some people, but
I think BJ Penn is 3. How do you finish
who's
out
number 4?
the Mount Rushmore? Who is your 4th?
Oh boy. Give me Frankie.
I was thinking you were going to go
put Frankie. I think Frankie deserves it.
Who, me?
Yeah, our Frankie. But how you doing, Frank?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem, man. How was lunch today?
Quite tasty.
I'm
Going
Seaweed.
Frankie Edgar.
for the hell of it, I'm gonna go Benson Henderson.
Ah, you troll. You fucking troll.
Speaking of trolls, what do you say to people that comment on Islam's resume and say, can we bring it back up? Can we bring up the Tapology?
Yeah, let's see the
I mean,
resume.
the run to the title, just like, I mean, who even are these guys? Can you even name any of them? I mean, we got Thiago Moises. Who is that? Davi Ramos. Who is that? And then we get to the title run, and it's like, all right, Charles Oliveira, you're getting like a featherweight quitter. Volk twice. I mean, what is that? The smallest featherweight you have to offer. Poirier, like 20 years past his prime. And then like Renato Moicano on 1 day's notice.
Cano, I like how you did that.
I've actually seen real conversations like that on the internet.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens, and I have nothing to say to those people. I don't
think
know.
Our producer on air Jordan is a diehard Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor fan, and I think Anthony Taylor was just like, oh yeah, everyone Islam's fighting is 34 or older. None of these wins are impressive.
Yeah, I believe that to be true for sure. I agree with him.
Which part? Me being a Pretty Boy fan, or
Well, we
Both,
know that you're
both.
an
We
Anthony.
know
you
that
also
you are.
skipped over my other favorite fighter, Raging Cajun Johnson. You know,
Yeah,
I know
shout out
it was a
Cajun
tough
Johnson.
loss to Islam, but 23 wins in his career. Like, how can you just be like, he's just a nobody? Islam beat him, no big
Well,
deal.
your boy Anthony Taylor feels like he's a nobody, so you have to reckon with that. I think Islam has done enough, and I also think, unlike Khabib, I don't think the book is fully written, and I'll tell you why I don't think the book is fully written, because I think we're gonna get
Okay.
an Ilia Topuria fight.
All right, we're gonna get to the map of how we get there in a second, but if you haven't gotten on social media this morning, Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev have exchanged words back and forth. Ilia Topuria is just doing a press conference every other day. It feels like it's just
Who
like
are these press
people-
conferences for?
I don't know, but like they just line him up. Or maybe it's just anytime Ilia Topuria gets on a mic, he's just cutting promos on anyone and everyone.
But he's always at the desk. He's always like in front of people, and he's doing a press conference. It's like, how many things does this guy have to announce? He announced the name change. Now he's back to the other name. They announced the street after him.
Okay.
He's got 16 different things.
I was wearing the Ilia Topuria El Matador shirt yesterday. It arrived to me like 6 days before he changed his name to La Leyenda. I was just like, God damn it. And it was like massive, just like Matador on it. I'm very glad that he went back to Matador.
the
It's
merch.
so much cooler than La Leyenda. It goes perfectly with the Spain theme. That's besides the point. He named he had a press conference because he got a street named after him. He's just always doing press conference. So let's take you back to last week.
Okay.
Islam Makhachev goes onto Twitter and he says that Saturday's main event will define what my next move is. Bilal wins. He's probably going to stay at 155. JDM wins. He's going up to 170. JDM obviously won. But regardless of the outcome of that fight, I am not going to vacate my lightweight title. We might get a real contender there. I think maybe what he was insinuating is if JDM wins, Ilia and Charles would fight for the interim belt, and then that would become the real contender to take him on. Him trying to defend that 155-pound title. Then Islam said on Saturday night after the championship, time to become a double champion. # inshallah, let's go. And then I believe he tweeted one more time. No, the fight got announced between Ilia and Charles, and Ilia went on Twitter and said on June 28th, another dream will come true. I'll be the champion of the lightweight division. Charles, my apologies in advance. I am just fighting for my dreams. It's unfortunate that Makhachev had to run away. 17-0 with the rose emoji. First of all, that is that's cold. Just being like, I'm sorry, Charles. Like, I hate that I have to do this to you.
I really like the I'm sorry, Charles. This Islam running away thing, it's giving me an aneurysm. I think my brain is going to like explode if I hear this.
Okay, but in
idea of,
Ilia's
like,
defense, what else do you expect him to say? Like,
I get that
he's the fighter that was calling for the fight. He was like, it's always been us. We should be fighting each other. I'm the champion from 145, coming up to fight the 155 champ. Like, of course he's going to say that.
I get him saying that, but at the same time, the way he's talking about Islam being a hypocrite, you are being a hypocrite. You are getting to come up and try to get that title.
He's doing
Why
the exact
is
same thing.
Islam not allowed to do it? This idea that like everybody seems to be swirling around this idea that Islam Makhachev owes Ilia Topuria this fight, that he is the one who owes him this fight. I don't agree with that at all. I could not agree with that less. Islam is the one who has done this. Islam is the one who has racked up title defenses. Islam is the one that gave the featherweight champion 2 cracks at the belt. He doesn't owe anybody shit. If he wants to go up to 170 and chase that, he should be allowed to. as should Ilia Topuria. Unfortunately for him, Islam has kind of had his time at lightweight and is now moving on. But like this idea that he owes Ilia Topuria this, I don't understand it. Nor do I understand this idea that like everybody's like, the fight was right there. It had to be made. It had to be made. Unfortunately, this is just the way this works. Like the timing doesn't work. And Islam Makhachev wants to solidify himself at 170. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with either guy doing what they're doing.
I actually do agree with you because all it would take is Volk getting on Twitter, a Mosar of Loyev getting on Twitter, or a Diego getting on Twitter before UFC 314 and just saying the same things,
100%.
just making the same claims. I don't blame Ilia for doing it. Of course he's going to do it. He's talking shit as a fighter that was looking to get that fight. But like in reality that we live in, I am in agreement with you that like Islam Makhachev has talked about going up to 170 for quite a bit of time now. And now he's doing it. He was waiting for Bilal to not be champion anymore, and then he was going to come up. I assure you, if Bilal had won, I think Islam Makhachev would be fighting Ilia Topuria.
And they have said as much. His team has said as much. He has said as much. The weeks of Islam being of all the reports coming out about Islam moving up if Bilal loses wasn't enough for anybody to realize that this was the plan the whole time.
All right, that was my biggest thing coming out of it is everyone's like, oh, like how are we really losing this fight? It's just like Islam made it clear
you knew this for weeks.
That if Bilal wins, he'll fight Ilia at 155. If Bilal loses, he's going to go up to 170 to fight JDM. Dana White at the press conference last week was just like, yep, if Bilal wins, Islam will fight Ilia at 155. If Bilal loses, he'll go up to 170 and fight JDM. Like, it was all clear.
Worst kept secret.
And then JDM and Bilal fought, and JDM won, and now Islam is like, I'm going up to 170.
Yeah.
Exactly the plan that I laid out. I am with you on that one.
Crazy.
Ilia Topuria, though, went to a press conference this morning for some reason, suited and booted, get a microphone in front of him, start cutting some promos, and he had this to say. On Islam Makhachev and his manager, one Ali Abdulaziz, he should thank me for not beating up his star and that he still has value thanks to me because they have taken him out through the back door.
Yeah, for sure.
Islam Makhachev took to Twitter in response to this and said, the difference between me and you, I've cleaned out the top list in my division. I moved to the next, but you ran away from two contenders who had consecutive 5-9 wins in the featherweight division. You are nobody in the lightweight division, just a big mouth from Spain with a nice haircut. Go get one W, and then we can talk, boy. Do love that he said, you're just a big mouth from Spain with a nice haircut. He's like, listen, you punk-ass bitch. You got a nice haircut.
Some good smack by Islam there.
Ilia then responded to that tweet, this all taking place this morning. He said, the difference between you and me is that I'm a man and you're a coward. I speak and fight, you talk and hide. Run away far, leaving no trace. And then a Russian term that I believe via my Google Translate means you are a little boy.
Okay, so Islam called him son, so maybe he's giving it back to him. Okay, let's talk about a few things here. There's a lot to talk about. In Islam's tweet where he's like, you ran away from, essentially he's saying Diego Lopez and Movsar Evloev. Yeah. That's what he's saying. Like, you ducked the smoke from them. I don't believe that either. Again, Ilia has made his intentions clear that he wanted to go up to lightweight and face that challenge. This idea that their back and forth continues to hinge around like, you're running from me, you're running from me.
When they're doing the same thing.
When they're doing the same thing.
They're doing the same exact thing.
Okay, now, I tweeted this earlier today. I believe that Islam Makhachev is in a better position than Ilia Topuria on the basis of this. And let me explain why. Islam Makhachev is now getting a crack at the 170-pound belt. If he wins that, he's in great position. He's now got his second belt in a second weight class. If Ilia Topuria wins, Islam Makhachev now has a mega fight. Because I do think if Ilia Topuria wins against Charles Oliveira, that fight becomes bigger than just if Ilia had come up to lightweight and fought Islam. I believe that actually becomes bigger because one, Islam will be holding 170-pound gold, and two, now Ilia Topuria is the lightweight champion in the division that Islam left. And so if you make a fight between those two on the heels of those two wins, it's massive and bigger, in my opinion. I think bigger than if you had done it right now this June. If Ilia Topuria loses, Islam gets to go, well, fuck, this guy sucks. He couldn't even hang at lightweight.
He couldn't even beat the dude that I took the belt from in 2 rounds.
Smoked him. Like, he couldn't even hang with a guy I smoked. What's this guy talking about? I don't want to hear yapping about him anymore. And then he continues his 170-pound run. So he's in a great position no matter, as long as he gets his work done against Jack Della Maddalena, no matter what happens with Ilia Topuria, I think he's in a good position. He's sitting pretty. With Ilia, it's good, but it's not as good because if Ilia wins and Islam wins, now he potentially does have that fight against Islam, but there's no guarantee, right? He needs Islam more than Islam needs him. Islam was the champion. As long as Islam doesn't lose at lightweight, there will be many people who are like, Islam's still the best, Islam's still the best, Islam's still the best. So there's kind of this shadow cast over Ilia. If he wins and Islam loses, now Islam gets to come down and go, all right, I'm ready.
Okay, all right. I saw this tweet while I was on the train this morning.
Yes.
I read it. I think it is a great point by you. I am in agreement for the most part with it. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be a great show today. I actually think Ilia Topuria is in a fantastic situation as well because the one you just laid out, if he beats Charles, which he is heavily favored to do so, I do believe that he is going to come out of that victorious, become the lightweight champion of the world. And Islam loses, you do lose shine when you lose. When your 15-fight winning streak gets snapped, and like if it's the Jack Della Maddalena, people are going to be like, okay, he was not cut out for 170, he didn't have it for 170. Now Ilia Topuria, who's already talking shit, being like, you ran from me, now he gets to be like, now there's only one place to go. You got to come fight me for the belt, and now I'm the champion. Okay, he's still in a great situation. He still gets a massive fight.
Here's the problem. Islam has the leverage there. Because now Islam comes down and goes, I'm here. It's time to do our fight. Ilia has no choice now. Because Ilia's been talking all that shit.
I think Ilia wants the fight.
Maybe, but now he's coming off a loss. That fight is diminished. That, as you said, you've now lost, and that fight is diminished compared to what it would have been if you were the first one to snatch that.
I still think Ilia will just be like, I will now, like the way that he talks shit will just be like, I will now lay you to rest. Like, oh yeah, JDM put the arrow in the dirt. Yeah, JDM put the arrow in your heart. Now it's time for me. Look at this. I've already dug the grave 6 feet deep. It's time for you to get in, Islam, and I'm going to end your career.
I feel like it's diminished a little bit though. That's the difference in the positions.
Okay, I do agree, but I think that hurts both guys in the sense that it's
Islam's
diminished.
Lost now.
Of course, now you're really hurt. But I do agree with you on the flip side of it. If they both come out victorious, I do not think this. When it first happened, like when these fights were announced, I was like, I think it's dead. I actually think there is a world that this fight still happens, and you're playing a risk, but not really, because if Ilia loses, then it's like, okay, he wasn't
never
really
the guy
suited for lightweight. He was never the guy. If Islam loses, then it's just like, all right, well, like he wasn't really suited for 170, and he just comes back down. But if both of them win, then it's just like, Ilia now holds the belt, and he gets a win over Charles. His star power just continues to grow, and he just continues to get bigger. He's now a 2-division champion. And if Islam wins, now he is a 2-division champion as well. The star power grows even more. And then
welcome to my side of the fence.
And then you have to think, I would just pray
that they do it,
that the UFC would allow him to retain the 170 belt
and
be like,
55.
Go try and get your 155 belt back.
I love this outcome. I think it's realistic. This is why there's a lot of outrage. I had a take when we did our reaction show that I think this is the better fight. I would rather see Charles versus Ilia because I think it's a better gauge of can he compete at lightweight. I think Islam is a bit of in his own category, and so I still love that fight. Here's why this makes more sense. We need to know, can Ilia compete at lightweight? If you go in there with Islam Makhachev and he wins, I guarantee it. Please write this down. I guarantee it. We're never going to know, but I promise you this to be true. If Ilia Topuria came up and fought Islam Makhachev in his first fight, and Islam blew the doors off him, submitted him in a round, submitted him in 2 rounds, I guarantee the same people who are like, we needed this fight to happen, will be saying, Ilia Topuria was shit and was never going to be a good lightweight and just completely shitting on it. It doesn't mean that much. Islam continues to beat up on featherweights. I guarantee the same people, the exact same people. And so to avoid this outcome, we're now getting Ilia Topuria against a former champion who is still conceivably in his prime, a very dangerous opponent on the ground, has become a dangerous striker.
Who's going to make an incredibly exciting fight.
Who's going to bring it to him.
Mega star that is going to get a ton of eyes on the fight.
And we get to learn, can Ilia Topuria hang with a lightweight of that caliber before...
Jai Herbert, not that caliber?
Before we get to potentially see him against an Islam Makhachev. To me, that is the best outcome. That is the best version of this that we get. Because this is my opinion. I don't believe that Ilia Topuria would be competitive with Islam Makhachev. I just don't believe that to be true. And so if that fight fell apart that way, if he comes in and Islam smokes him, everybody's going to be like, he wasn't, they're gonna shit on both of them. They're gonna shit on Islam because he's beating up another featherweight, and they're gonna shit on Ilia Topuria because he was never good enough to be a lightweight. And it just ruins it. It just ruins it. We're gonna find out something different about Ilia Topuria in this fight against Charles Oliveira, and I love that potential. And then we get to decide if we do Islam.
Then we also get to find out about Islam Makhachev. Everyone,
70-pound
everyone with the 145 allegations against Islam Makhachev.
That's
Now
right.
he's going against the true 170
going up.
JDM. I was standing right next to JDM a few days ago. I was like, this man's kind of thick. Like, we're around the same height, and his forearms are as big as my thigh. I was like, man, I would not want to scrap with this
He's
dude.
a big boy.
This dude is a full-on welterweight. So that's going to be fascinating to see. I still disagree with you. I wish we were seeing Ilia Islam, but I think the fact that the fight is not dead and now you have the potential of like super duper fight, two division
It's
champions
bigger.
going against each other, all the shit talk, man, we lost it, now we're getting it. The potential, which is a dangerous thing to have in the sport of mixed martial arts. Hope of things working out is a very dangerous thing to have in this sport because the best laid plans can get ruined very quickly in this sport. But like, I think the potential is there for down the road in 2026, maybe International Fight Week.
No.
2026.
Come with me. Come along.
Okay, all right.
So this is, we were talking about, we're going to get
Bring me.
Islam versus Ilia International Fight Week in June. It's the biggest spectacle. Oh my God, International Fight Week's here. That's great. Fuck that. Ilia Topuria wins June. Islam Makhachev wins. Let's call it October.
We'll say Abu Dhabi,
November,
October.
Abu Dhabi, October. Beats Jack Della Maddalena. What could you do with a guy like Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria? Where could you put that? Oh, I don't know. A fucking arena in Spain in the middle of February or March, and now you've got the biggest fight in UFC history between two guys who are reigning champions in weight classes up and now clashing for Islam Makhachev, former champion at 55, Ilia Topuria, the new man sitting in his seat, and you get that in Spain. That's the fucking
April,
fight.
Spain, a little
Well,
spring
April
in
we're
Spain.
getting into Ramadan territory, and it gets harder.
March, Spain.
So you got to do it earlier in the year.
early March, Spain. Give both guys. You'd give Islam Makhachev about 5 months post
Ready.
post JDM fight. Now he's welterweight champion of the world. In Spain.
Come right back down.
Even if it's just an arena in Spain. Could you imagine that?
Anywhere in
Could you
Spain.
imagine that guitar hitting?
Yeah.
In Spain, the whole
And-
crowd goes wild. And I can assure you, I've said it once, I'll say it again. If they announce an Ilia Topuria fight in Spain with a belt on the line, flight's getting booked that day.
Okay.
I will be in attendance. There is no question about it.
Important question. Does a belt have to be on the line? Would you accept Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, 160-pound catchway,
Whoa.
Nobody's belt on the line.
Whoa.
just fighting because these are the two that
Introduction
need
of the
to fight?
165-pound division.
160, Ilia, Islam.
No belts on the line?
No belts.
No.
The champ versus the champ, but no belts on the line.
No.
It needs to be the belt. It needs to be for the Islam belt.
If Ilia has the 155, Islam has the
It
170,
needs to be for that one.
it's got to be 155. Give Islam the double champ
I
status.
kind of would dig the 160, but I'm not.
Also, thinking about this more, Islam goes up, gets the 170 belt, and then in his attempt goes back down. Now he's taking he was giving Ilia the opportunity to become the two-division champion, double champion. Now Ilia
Is
would
giving
be
Islam.
giving Islam the double champion.
Then who's running? See, this is the thing. Islam kind of can back Ilia into making him the next title fight. If he comes back down, he says to Ilia, okay, I'm calling your bluff. You wanted me, now you've got me. Ilia doesn't really have a choice. Now it has to be Islam. Now,
all the while,
Jack Della Maddalena can play spoiler, fucking clean Islam's clock and just be like, nope.
Don't get me started on that. All the while, Paddy Pimblett is picking up one more victory in the lightweight division, setting up another monster title fight at
Massive.
155. No matter who wins, whether it's Islam Makhachev or Ilia Topuria,
Yeah, but
international
then
fight
what
week,
happens?
August, September of next year, Paddy Pimblett title shot.
But then what happens if Islam wins the 55-pound belts? Then like, all right, peace. I just want to beat up Ilia Topuria. I'm going back to 70. Then Paddy versus...
No, then it's a very competitive fight between Ilia and Islam. Islam then vacates the 155. He's like, yep, double champ.
Topuria,
Y'all can have this back.
Paddy,
Topuria, Paddy, vacant
vacant.
title.
Yeah, love it. I like the position Islam's in. I like the position Ilia's in, just a little bit less. I do think this fight can still happen, and I think it could be bigger than it was if it had happened in June.
I'm with you, man. I'm excited for this summer. God, I am excited for this summer.
They got a lot lined up.
Look, man, card this weekend. No need to beat around the bush. You ain't writing home about it.
Yep.
Interesting main event. You ain't writing home about it. Apex 107, Barbara Blanchfield. I think it's on the last day. Yeah, it's on the last day of May. Ain't writing home about it. But once that's over, June kicks off.
We're rolling.
We are fucking rolling, baby. We got Sugar Marab. We got UFC Atlanta, Usman Buckley. You got UFC Baku, Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree. You got International Fight Week. Then in July, you got Poirier versus Holloway. You got UFC Nashville. You've got UFC
That
Chicago.
main event's a little.
Main event's bullshit. Just throw Derek Lewis into a main event against anyone, like Taliesin Teixeira, whatever.
Sure,
but
whatever.
Still, it's a fight night in a city that isn't the Apex, and then Chicago gets the return.
That's the one for me.
Hamza
by the way. I mean,
Chimaev. We keep talking about there's a lack of star power. We're starved for stars. There is real potential over the next calendar year for some really massive stars to, like, I don't want to say be born because I already think Ilia Topuria is a star. I already think Islam Makhachev is a star. I already think Hamza Chimaev is a star. But like to really start getting into that next echelon of like superstar power is starting to really penetrate into the casual fandom. People are appointment viewing this guy, even if they're not really into the UFC.
if Ilia emerges from it, or Islam solidifies himself and reestablishes himself, if Hamza is able to finally become a champion, if DDP turns back Hamza on the run he's on, and then the elephant in the room that needs to be addressed is if Tom Aspinall can beat John Jones, or John Jones
Goodness gracious.
stops Tom Aspinall. Like, this is a very important stretch for the UFC, and to your point, I think from this could emerge one of the UFC's biggest stars, or re-solidify one of the UFC's biggest stars with one of their biggest wins.
Interesting times ahead for us. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it shakes down throughout the whole course of the summer. Should be some good fights. We'll be in Vegas for International Fight Week. We'll be just a couple blocks away from old T-Mobile. We'll be doing a watch party that night to see how it all shakes out. It's going to be tremendous stuff.
Exciting times. Do you believe that one of the UFC's biggest stars could emerge from UFC Vegas 106?
You know, no. Let's
Asked and answered.
Let's talk about UFC Apex 106. To me, this is like from a stakes, from a interesting standpoint. This is essentially like a one fight card for me. Like
I'm in the same boat.
I don't really know how you could make the argument otherwise. I think there's some solid scraps on there, but like in terms of like very interesting implications within the division, it's the main event and the main event only. Gilbert Burns taking on Michael Morales. Michael Morales, undefeated, welterweight, still a very young guy, ranked number 12th in the division. They're obviously trying to push him into the top 10 here. And if he wins, if he comes out victorious, he is now in line with this stacked, congested contendership at 170. Obviously, we were just talking about it. Islam's probably going to get the next shot against JDM. Then you've got Sean Brady, Ian Gary, Shavkat Rachmanov, Joaquin Buckley's fighting Usman. Like, Michael Morales is going to have to get into this line of like, how far away am I from a title shot? He's going to be an undefeated dude at, I believe, just 25 years of age, starting to rack up some big wins, doing it in exciting fashion. Could be, I believe, the first Ecuadorian UFC champion, if I'm not mistaken. It's interesting, man. And to me, this is his toughest test to date.
It is 100% his toughest test. He is 25. He'll be 26 in June. He looks like the real deal to me. And you mentioned like kind of passing this test and then entering that upper echelon. The last three fights for Gilbert Burns: Bilal Muhammad,
Nah.
Jack Della, Sean Brady.
No. You say last three fights? Let's go last 10 fights.
Okay.
For Gilbert Burns. It is an absolutely insane run.
Okay, before we do that, I
Okay.
do want to do that. But I mentioned those. Who are those three? The champ who just lost his belt on Saturday.
Yep.
The champ who just took the belt on Saturday. The number one contender
number
in
one
the division. So, like, this is the guy that you cross this threshold, you are the guy. You become the guy. And so Michael Morales has an opportunity to do that. But yes, I mean, please, let's talk about
Yeah,
the
like
last
I hate to call Gilbert Burns that just because he takes on anyone and he is a badass and he's obviously wildly skilled, but like it is almost like he is that sort of gatekeeper right now. He is sort of that line to the upper echelon of the division. And that kind of shocks me to see that. Like Michael Morales is a minus 850. I'm seeing
That's hefty.
I'm seeing as big as a minus 1,000 against the guy in Gilbert Burns who his last 10 fights.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, Sean Brady, JDM Bilal. Before that, Jorge Masvidal dub, Neil Magny dub, and then Khamzat Chimaev, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Kamaru Usman, Tyrone Woodley, Damian Maia.
Yeah, pretty good. Those
That
guys
is the
are all pretty
last
good.
10 fights for this dude. I think maybe Jorge Masvidal passed his prime once they fought, but like Neil Magny might be the lowest level of competition out of those 10.
Oh, 100%
and that
it
is the best competition that Michael Morales has ever faced.
It's a great point.
Granted, got rid of him in one round. Gilbert Burns did the same thing. Looked great doing it, but like the differential in competition they have faced is a wide margin. Now,
And the last time we talked about that, Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Praches. The last time we talked about this, where we go, look at the level of guys this guy's faced and look at the level of guys this guy's faced, it was Carlos Praches versus Ian Machado Gary. And what we saw in that one was, yeah, when you're fighting those guys at the highest level, it's a lot harder to look good. It's a lot harder to put on those spectacles. And then what happens when you face off against somebody who's not there yet?
and I actually think this level of competition is wider. Than
Bigger.
Praches
Yeah,
and
way
Gary's
bigger.
one. Now, the one thing against it is the age gap
38.
is much wider. 38 to 25.
Yeah.
13-year age difference. And then in addition to that, Michael Morales, the reach, he has like 8 inches of reach. He is a long and rangy striker. I think he's going to use that to his advantage. If he can avoid going to the mat with Gilbert Burns, I think he's going to have a ton of success. Ultimately, I think Michael Morales gets it done here, but at a minus 1,000 clip, I don't think it's that high. I think it's going to be competitive. I think people are going to be surprised at what Gilbert Burns has to offer.
I believe that Michael Morales is one of the best prospects in the sport and the real deal. To every ounce of me believes that Michael Morales could be a UFC champion one day. But there are times where the curve is going up for him and the curve is going down for Gilbert, but Gilbert's coming from here. Gilbert's coming from the top. And so maybe there's still enough in that body of Gilbert to still get past a Michael Morales, and he wasn't quite at that peak yet. It happens. And we like there might be a world in a year from now, 2 years from now, where we go, Carlos Praches is the gem of the division, and it wasn't Ian Gary, right? He might have just gotten him at the right time. I think there's a world where Gilbert might be getting Michael at the time right before he's ready to just give it up. But I also think there's a chance that at 38 years old, the best years have been behind. It's so impossible to tell because the guys he's been facing that you laid out, he has not had an easy fight in 10 fights. And even before that, it wasn't easy fights. The guy has just faced a murderer's row. You can't really gauge somebody if every single time out they're facing the top of the top of the top of the top. And Michael Morales has just not. Ultimately, I think Morales is going to win this fight. But would I be shocked if it was too soon for him? I would not, because Gilbert Burns is good. And we saw it in that fight with Jack Della. Some people had him winning that fight. The judges, I think, had it 1-1. He was in control of that third round. He might have been the last guy to defeat who is now the UFC champion if the third round had gone his way.
If JDM doesn't Derek Lewis it, I'm just going to get up.
Yeah, Gilbert wins that fight.
Gilbert wins that fight
Yeah.
for sure.
And so I don't know if he's cooked yet. Like, I'm not ready to put the fork in Gilbert Burns.
I am not, man. I mean, yes, he's on a 3-fight winning streak. He hasn't won since April of 2023. But like you said, the 3-fight winning streak is to the champ that just lost his belt, the champ that just won the belt, and the number one contender in the sport. And he's 5-5 in his last 10, but his other 2 losses on top of the 3-fight winning streak are to Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
Former champion,
Former champ.
one of the hottest prospects, undefeated in the entire sport. I just think
Betting wise, this is one that I stay away from.
I'm staying
just
away from it because I think Michael Morales is going to win. But
Same.
I feel like minus 300 maybe minus like 270.
So do you almost have to make a dog play on Burns just for the
No, because I think Michael Morales wins. Like it's just like I don't know. I think it's the odds.
It's like dog pass or really pass. I believe. I'll say again though. I think Michael Morales is like future champ. Like I really believe in Michael Morales. The skill set that he has is ridiculous. And and this could be the start of that kind of run. I'm a big Michael Morales believer.
17-0, 12 wins
He's
by
a
knockout.
freak, man. He's a freak.
Got the look, the unique country behind him.
Oh yeah,
Like being the first champion from a country can do a lot for you. It's going to be interesting to see, man. And this is one of those fights that if he comes out victorious, it's just like, all right, man,
you're it.
throw him into the
100%.
fire. Like, how many more does he have? 2 more until he's getting a title shot?
And this division probably like 4 or 5 now because of the queue that's forming.
Or just like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
He's just gonna have
Could
to
be.
wait that long.
Yeah.
That one's gonna be fascinating. I can't wait for that one. Beautiful Apex, unique like Apex, the typical Apex, 4 p.m. Eastern start.
Love that.
Which I just absolutely love. Co-main event: Paul Craig versus Adolfo Bellato. Yeah, this is kind of where we see the drop off in the card. So it's just like
Right to the co-main.
Paul Craig. Something that is interesting here. He has noted that this is the last fighter on his UFC contract.
Yep.
Likely, I would imagine. I don't know if he's going to continue in MMA if he doesn't get the win here and he ends up retiring. But feels like this is
Do or die.
This is do or die for Paul Craig, and we've seen him be sort of, inactive in these fights, sort of timid, doesn't really push the pace or anything like that. I imagine that will change on Saturday. He
that
knows
he's
he's going to
fighting
have
for
to do something.
I wonder though, even with a win, is he guaranteed to re-sign if you're the UFC? I don't know how much
Bear
he's
Jew?
making contract. Paul Craig's an interesting character and somebody that I think is very easy to root for. He's super affable. He's funny. People like his fighting style when he is like in those crazy wars or pulling off the last minute submissions. I just think he's got to put it all out there and go to battle and then see what happens and live with the results. But if it's the last one, I mean, incredible run. If it's not, comes back with the UFC. I think there's still fun fights out there for him. And this could be that perfect like test to see if he can still do it.
Is it not pronounced Paul Craig?
I see what you did there.
That's how I usually hear
From the
it
broadcast
spoken.
team?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From the broadcast team and also the man who normally sits here,
That
one. Helwani. Featured bout of the evening: Sadiq Youssef taking on Marion Santos.
I do like this one.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid fight. They're both moving up to lightweight. Marion Santos 15-1. A lot of people did not think that he beat Francis Fire Marshall in his last fight, won by split decision.
That's right. That was a controversial one.
There were a lot of people on UFC 313 that felt like he should not have gotten the nod.
I think I was in that camp. We were watching it early before we went live. Sadiq Youssef is he's a hard dude to get past, and I think this is gonna really we're gonna have a referendum on that last win from this one. Like it's gonna tell us whether that was legit or whether it was not. Sadiq Youssef is a load for anybody. I'm interested to see how he looks because he needed a little bit of a change of scenery, but he's super talented, and I think he has a real opportunity here.
Very closely lined fight. -135 Marion Santos.
That makes
Sadiq
sense to
Youssef
me.
+115.
Yeah.
There's a world where you're looking back on it where it's just like that was probably a buy low spot on Marion Santos.
Oh,
Like
I
I'm
was
saying,
thinking, what if it's a
if Marion Santos, because he's 15-1, he's obviously a very skilled fighter.
he looked great
and
on
the
tough.
and the Francis Fire Marshall fight was sort of just like, oh man, he just like didn't come to fight that night, and he ends up having a great performance against Sadiq Youssef. That's what I mean in terms of a buy low spot.
But it could be a buy low spot on Sadiq Youssef, honestly.
Be like, man, Marion Santos really ain't built like that.
Yeah, and Sadiq Youssef just had a rough go toward the end, but he was in some crazy fights, and all of a sudden, this guy has a new coat of paint. So I think it could be one of those where the winner comes out looking like, oh, I should have known that was going to happen with that guy.
Nursultin Ruzabayev taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus kind of been win-loss for like his last 6 fights. Coming off a win, so I guess that means he's
Nasty
destined
one.
to lose here. Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like Stoltzfus, like he's kill or be killed, and it's just like when he's doing the killing, it's exciting. When he's getting killed, it's also exciting. I mean, his last 4 fights, he won by finish or he lost by finish early on in the fights each
This
time.
is that one where everybody guarantees fireworks and a banger, and then it becomes a decision.
This is the one that I bet under 2.5 on, and I'm just like, lock. And then
Decision.
there's like 4.5 minutes left in the 3rd round, and you're just like, God damn it. No one's gotten even close to a finish. Like, I'm fucked.
Been there many times.
Been there many, many times. I think the best one was Paulo Costa, Luke Rockhold in 2022. I bet the under in that one, and I was just like, God, why did I bet this? He's like bleeding all over Luke Rockhold. They're like licking each other's blood. I'm just like, finish him, God. Last one on the main card, Julian Erosa versus Melky Costa. Melky Costa, an impressive win last time out, and he's already back in there just a couple months later. I think both these guys have wins over C-Rod. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, like, Julian Erosa, 3-fight win streak.
Juicy J's on a little run.
He's the one thing you can say about Juicy J, he's down for a scrap.
Scrapper.
Like
Born scrapper.
He is down to scrap. And Melky Costa's look good, man. 3-fight win streak himself. Like, I feel like this is going to be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, there's a few like that on this card. Like, all the ones we've kind of rattled off so far, like, they're compelling in a certain way, but also, like, there's no stakes. There's nothing on the line in nearly anything here other than in the main event. But I don't think it's going to be a bad fight night. Like, they've put a lot of names on here that I know we're going to bring a fight.
Yeah, to me, this is one that, like, you kind of have it on. You're sort of like, as like the card is crescendoing into like the main event and everything, you're checking in and you sort of just have one eye on it. And you're like, damn, that was actually like a sick fight.
Yeah.
Whether
Or
it's
you're sitting there going, why the fuck did I bet this under? And you're dying. You're sweating it out.
Or it's just a complete snooze and you're like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I watching these people?
Why am I here?
Point fight to a decision in a warehouse on my Saturday evening? What?
Shout out to the world famous Apex.
Yeah, I mean, Connor Matthews versus Yadier Del Valle. That one is one that is just like,
Sure.
Yeah. I will actually be out on Saturday evening. This is going to be one where like I'm with all my friends and you got it on the phone, like tilted up at the restaurant.
Are you able to divulge your plans? Like, where are you going to be out?
No.
Oh, secret. Okay. Fair enough.
No need to divulge into any of that. Hyun Sung Park, Carlos Hernandez. That should be, decent. Tisha Pennington taking on Luana Pinheiro.
Wow.
Denise Gomes, Elise Reed.
Yep.
I'm not saying it, but some people are saying people's main event.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Some people.
Some people are saying
that. Jared Gordon, Thiago Moises, Gabe Green back from a pretty long layoff, Mateus Camillo. So, yeah, it's not that great of a card.
Main event's good, though.
Main event's good. I'm not going to sit here and lie to the people and be like, this is the one.
This is definitely not the one.
We got fights on Saturday.
We got fights, and the main event.
Betting odds will be available for them.
Gilbert Burns is either going to be like, oh, shit, shout out Gilbert Burns for getting it done, or
I'm so cool with
that
either
Michael
outcome.
Morales. Yeah.
I'm
Gilbert's
so cool
a good
with
guy. I think he...
Yeah, for sure. I'm down to see him win and be like, damn, Gilbert still got it.
Yeah,
man. Only
I'm
fights
down for that
killers.
too.
That was badass. Took Michael
He
Morales.
did that short notice against Bilal, and he was hurt, and the whole thing. Like, it's just been like, he's too game. He
really
hasn't
is.
He hasn't tried to navigate the waters. He's just been like, yeah, craziest guy I could face. Let's fight him.
Well, if you remember in that one, he fought Neil Magny
Yeah.
in January of 2023. Comes back 3 months later, fights Jorge Masvidal in April of 2023. Comes back a month later and fights Bilal in May of 2023.
Yeah, and what was the injury? He had a bad injury in that fight. Something was his arm.
I think it was his arm, and so it just led to Bilal just striking for 25
Bilal just
minutes.
beat him up. Shout out Gilbert. I'm a fan of Gilbert, but it's Michael Morales' time, I think.
Yeah, because on the flip side of that, I was like, I'm cool with either outcome. Michael Morales gets an impressive victory, then it's just like, damn. Another guy at welterweight, 170 just becomes that much more interesting. Now you have an 18-0, 25-year-old who's a long-rangey striker that can cause problems for people. Man, something with this carpet, it's sort of like the grain of it goes a weird
What's
way.
wrong with the carpet, man?
It forces the chair in certain directions. I can't. I feel like I don't have full control over here. I feel
Speaking
like
of
the
directions,
carpet controls
do you
me.
mind tilting your mic back a little bit and more towards your face?
I'm in the middle of a flaming hot take, and Frank gets in my ear, and he's just like, "Hey man, this is in your ear. Could you tilt the mic more? Tilt the mic more." So now I need to tilt it the other way.
Make it look like Rick's.
This knob.
Yeah.
Don't touch that.
Loosen that one, and then
Don't listen. Don't listen to him. He's gone rogue. No.
Oh, it's been loosened.
No. Helwani is sitting at home.
Is this good, man?
He's pointing at the.
This is cool.
Can't believe we're doing this.
Please just do it, because he's been talking about this for 20 minutes.
Oh,
and it's
God.
exhausting.
It's been insufferable for me. I can only imagine how insufferable it's been for you guys back there.
No, I told him to fix it.
I love the behind the scenes that the fans just got here into the.
I know
Frank.
it looks like I'm just chilling here yapping with my boy. I got this IFB end so Frank can yell in my ear whenever he wants to. It's really sometimes if you ever see me rip it out, that means that Frank is just incessantly talking in it.
What does IFB stand for?
Internal Frank banter.
Oh, yeah, right on.
Yeah.
For those at home, it's interruptible foldback.
It's infernal
cares.
Frank banter because We don't need it. All right, let's go to let's do some picks.
Let's do some picks. Let's do parlay pals. No, you know what? Let's recap last week
Yes.
because I need to brag on myself. Shout out UFC 315. Then let's brag on you guys, big hitters. Then let's do parlay pals and bets. All right, let's start with the recap. The old Barry H, as they say in the business.
What do we got?
UFC 315. Nailed all my money lines. Nailed every single one of them. Boom. Right across the board. If only someone could have told you that both the dogs were going to win in the co-main and main event. Oh, wait, I did. Shout out to some of the Canadians, Mike Malott, Marc-Andre Barrios. Unfortunately, Brad Katona. Shout him out for losing. But shout out to the money lines. And
That's
then
you for losing.
the props. Not as good, that long shot. I had Jasmine Jasdovicius over 1.5 in that one that went 6 of 7 legs. She gets that finish a little bit later. We're really talking about a generational week here. That one was plus 760.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, doesn't come through. And then the Benoit Saint Denis same game parlay. BSD under 1.5 rounds. I miss it by 4 seconds. If you're watching the watch party, you got to experience that with me live. That was very unfortunate. But yeah, a nice week. Up 6.75 units. It feels good. It felt like we needed a win, man. Not only did I need a win, the Parlay Pals needed a win, and we delivered. Shout out Navajo Sterling. Shout out Jasmine Jasdovicius. Shout out Mike Malott. And then Frankie with the minus 700, Shevchenko Fiorillo over 2.5.
Did the check clear? Did the check clear?
The check cleared, brother. I ain't hating. I ain't hating.
Felt like a little bit of hate there.
Nah, you hit it, man. That brings us to 7-16. Shout out. That's my birthday, July 16th. Written in the stars. We were always going to be 7-16. And the profit loss, we're still down. We're still in the red, but we'll get there this week.
We could get there this week.
Yeah. We're going to go green this week. All right, now let's shout you guys out. A couple big hitters. Pay-per-view cards always deliver for this. Let's start. I feel like I have to shout these guys out weekly. It kind of gets tiresome, but I'm a man of the people. Mr. Electrocute, one of the sharpest guys in the game. Shout out to Art. I actually tailed these on the side, so I hit these. You couldn't even track them. He went Jasmine Jasdovicius most strikes. She wins. Mike Malott most strikes. He wins. Natalia Silva most strikes. She wins. Parlayed them all up. $500 into $3,926, and then he did it again for $1,500. So $2,000 on the line. Returns almost $10,000, like $9,800. One of the sharpest in the game. Gives out a ton of great information on his Twitter. I highly recommend following him. He is one of the best out there. Shout out to Mr. Electrocute. And then the weekly Jay Singh shout out. Happens every week. Dude is just money. Gives out free picks on his Twitter. Jay Singh. Real ones now. 4-pick parlay. Natalia Silva to win by decision. Over 2.5. Aldo Zahabi. Valentina Shevchenko plus 9.5. Jack Della to win by a decision.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, grand to win 21,000 on that one. And then he also hit Ayman Zahabi decision, Shevchenko decision, Jack Della plus 9.5 points, another 1,100 on that to win 16,000. And then he hit one more for you, 5 picks, Natalia Silva by decision, over 2.5 in Zahabi Aldo, over 4.5 in the co-main, Jack Della to win, and Benoit Saint Denis, Kyle Prepelec, fight to start round 2. Yes, that's another 750 into 10,000. I believe he totaled up in terms of profit $48,000 on the night. So gives out free picks, only posts his slips. One of the real ones in the game. Shout out to Jay Singh. We move along to another very sharp man on Twitter, Mike, Couch Warrior Pod. I believe you can just follow him at Couch Warrior Pod. He hits a plus 13,131 Navajo Sterling by points, Jasmine Jasdovicius by finish, Natalia Silva by points, Valentina Shevchenko by points, and JDM Moneyline $10 into 1,323. And then he followed it up with another one, Navajo Sterling by points, Ayman Zahabi by points, and Valentina Shevchenko by points, $25 into 1,226. So he turned $35 into $2,500.
Not bad.
That ain't bad. We roll along to a couple one-offers here. MMA, the problem is 291 to 1. He turned $2 into $580. Brad Katona by points or Beksat Almakhan by KO. Jasmine Jasdavicius by finish. Ayman Zahabi moneyline. Shevchenko by KO or points. Jack Della by points. Parlayed them all up. $2 into $582.
Damn.
Unbelievable stuff. We keep rolling to another guy. Fart Sniffer 46. 253 to 1. Shout out to Mason Pringle. The smallest ticket of all time because of how long it is. He goes, I'll read it off for you. He goes, Ayman Zahabi, Valentina Shevchenko, Jack Della, Natalia Silva, BSD, Mike Malott, Jasdavicius, Bukowskis, Sterling, Marc-Andre Barriault. Unbelievable stuff. $360 into $912. Insane stuff by him. A couple more here. Marky Nude, Marcus Allen. He just parlayed up the co-main and main event dogs. Threw $950 on it to win $5,087. Next up, Refuse to Lose, Cello Mello, Ayman Zahabi by decision, Valentina Shevchenko by decision, Jack Della Maddalena by decision, $5 into $316. Shout out to Cello Mello. And two more here for you. Ruth Dog 17. Shout out to my guy Tyler. He goes MAB by KO, Jasmine by sub, Mike Malott by finish, plus 4,029. Turns $25 into over $1,000.
Get that little profit boost.
Shout out to the profit boost, man. Using it wisely. Turned a plus 3,099 into a plus 4,029 and hit it. So shout out to him. And then I think I have one more. Richard Reyna. 33 cents into $211. Imagine if you threw 5 on this one, Rich. 12-pick parlay. Whole card. Got every single winner correct.
Pick the whole card.
Plus 63,981.
God damn.
If he had thrown $5,
Yeah, what does that pay out?
what's 211 by 15? $3,000 instead of 211? Throw a $5 next time, Rich.
You know he's kicking himself in the ass right now. Don't hit him
Good.
With down.
Nah. I'm kicking him in the ass while he's down. Imagine if you just threw a $5 on that bad boy.
Shout out Richard.
Shout out to Richard.
Nice
Shout out to all
nice
the
picks.
winners, man. Shout out to all the big hitters. Impressive stuff, especially on these pay-per-view weeks. It truly is incredible. All right. UFC Apex 106. We're still making picks. Let's do the
We're about
parlay
to get in the
pals.
green, baby.
Frankie, throw it into the randomizer. We're about to put together a winning parlay to move the parlay pals back into the green. We already got Pete Carroll's pick. Rick will go first. Frank second. I'll go third.
Easy. Give me Ruzabayev. Give me Ruzabayev.
Okay.
I think he's going to get it
Against
done.
Stoltzfus.
Stoltzfus.
We're believing in the man from Tajikistan.
We sure are.
Is that what it is?
I think he is, yeah.
PT already picked Melky Costa minus 175, by the way.
Nice.
Love it.
I'm going to do Jared Gordon,
Oh, I like it.
Thiago Moises, over 2.5.
Oh,
Don't mind telling.
Okay. Ruzabayev, Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan.
Remember when we saw him in Atlantic City and like there was a massive contingent of
That's right. That's right.
Uzbekistan fighters. All right. I will go to the co-main event and I
What we
will
got?
go Rodolfo Bellato, Paul Craig, under 2.5.
Yeah, because you were saying you expect the action. You
I
expect
think there's
going
going
to
to be action here. I think Paul Craig is going to have to force it. Bellato, 13 of his 15 fights have gone under 2.5. Paul Craig, 8 of his last 10 have gone under 2.5. Could be his last fight. I think we see some fireworks here. I think someone gets finished.
Nobody wanted to take Michael Morales at minus 15,000 odds.
Minus 950. Michael Morales, you could have. We said minus 1,000 or below. That gets us to plus 251. Which, if you look at the units there,
Let's do it.
we get a dub.
Oh, I love that.
We get a dub. Oh yeah, love it.
This is here for the taking. And now that the Juliana Pena curse has been lifted,
Yes.
she is back in good graces
Back in
with
the
us.
good
She has
graces of
allowed
the
us to now
Venezuelan
win
Vixen.
these
The
again.
Vixen curse is off of us. We are free from the Venezuelan Vixen curse. It feels good. It feels good.
You know what? It felt bad just to be not on the same page with Juliana. Now we get that, and we get to have our parlays hit again. It's fantastic.
All right, let me run through my picks. Don't have a ton this weekend just because of the card, but I do have 4 bets that I want to hit on. Did I send those to you,
Dramatic
Jordan?
pause.
You wait your damn turn.
Okay. All right, I can wait. I can wait.
Sorry. There was something going on in the chat. I
Oh,
was
no
just checking
worries.
in on.
No worries. Oh, crazy shit going on in the chat. Should I hop in? What's good, guys?
Everyone stop
Oh,
chatting
shit.
shit.
Seeing a lot of deleted clips. Motherfuckers must be hating on our ass or something. All right, Carlos Hernandez. I'm going to take him as an underdog against Hyun Sung Park. Yes, Hyun Sung Park is undefeated. Yes, he is 9-0, but I just don't really rate his wins. He's 2-0 in the UFC. But Shannon Ross and Sunguk Choi, don't really rate them. And on the road to UFC, Topnoy Karam and Jeremiah Saragar. Those 4 guys, between the road to UFC and his 2 UFC fights, 38-26 combined record. I think Carlos Hernandez has fought the better brand of competition. I like his boxing. I'm going to go with him to get his hand raised as an underdog here. We roll along. Gabe Green money line. Same thing. Long layoff for Gabe Green, but I trust that he's in good health at this point. But he's going against the dude who's making his debut in the UFC, has not fought good competition before the UFC. This is a massive step up. He's only 24. He's inexperienced. Gabe Green, yes, 2-3 in the UFC, but he's gone against guys like Ian Gary, Daniel Rodriguez, Phil Rowe, Brian Battle, albeit that was very short, but like that's who he was prepping for. He has that experience at the highest level, and I think that is going to pay off for him. Next up, Erosa, Costa, over the 1.5. Melky, 8 of his last 11 have gone over 1.5. Yes, I understand Julian Erosa is a major concern here, getting 5 fights ending in the first round in a row, but I just don't think his grappling is going to give him the opportunity to finish Costa. I think Costa is going to be able to initiate the grappling, and I don't really rate Costa as a guy that's going to knock out Julian Erosa. I think this one goes longer. We've seen Julian Erosa obviously go to decision before, same with Melky Costa. So yeah, I think with the recent first round finishes for Julian Erosa, we're getting a decent price on the over 1.5 here. And then a parlay, the Bellato Craig, under 2.5 I just mentioned. And I'm taking the over 1.5 in Burns Morales. I think it's going to be more competitive than people think. I think this is a solid parlay piece. Burns, 8 of his last 9 have gone over the 1.5. 12 of his last 14 have done the same. Dude went to a decision with Hamzat when Hamzat was the scariest dude in the division. He is game as they come. I know Morales finished Magny in the first round last time out, but 5 of his last 7 have gone over the 1.5, and this is his toughest test to date. I think this one goes over the 7.5 minute mark, and those are the bets for UFC Apex 106.
Some damn good bets.
Shout out.
Damn, Frankie likes them. They must be good.
Hopefully there's some damn good bets. All right, so at the beginning of the show, we talked about Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, the International Fight Week announcements. With that came the announcement of Dricus du Plessis taking on Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319 in Chicago, Illinois.
Why is that relevant? Why is that interesting?
For years, I swear it's been like 4 or 5 years now of Chicago fans weekly tweeting, asking on the nose, Instagram DMing, voicemails. When is the UFC coming back to Chicago? When's the UFC coming back to Chicago? Chicago. We've got to get back to Chicago.
They're coming.
They're coming.
And with the main event of a lifetime.
You guys are getting an unbelievable main event. I hope the United Center is, that's what it's called?
Yes.
I hope the United Center is fully packed out for that one. And you guys show why you guys wanted a pay-per-view back so badly. But for that reason, the pound-for-pound ranking this week will be Chicago things.
Best of Chicago.
The best of Chicago. The pizzas, the athletes, the sports teams, the beam, whatever you want to do. Chicago things, pound for pound lists. Frankie, what's the order?
So I thought in honor of the great American rock band 311, we'd mix things up. We'll start with Frank, then we'll go to Connor, and we'll have Rick finish us off.
Okay.
I don't understand the tee up, but I'm going to just roll with it.
They have a song called All Mixed Up.
Uh-huh.
The greatest. All right. So Chicago, starting at number 5.
Okay.
I have chosen Wax Trax Records. So this is a little record store that started in the 80s in Chicago and then had such a cult following, and they were able to do some presses for local acts that they actually became a full record label that exists to this day. We have acts like KMFDM, Frontline Assembly, Front 242. The list goes on. In fact, I'm going to a show tonight at King's Theater, a band called Underworld from England. They also release things from Wax Trax. I can't think of Chicago without thinking of Wax Trax. Coming in at number 4.
Can I just ask? It said New York and Chicago. Do they now have a New York as well?
That happens a lot, man, with record labels. Like, they'll put an office in New York just to, like, make it easier for people to visit and sort of thing. But it's usually just, like, an office, maybe even just a mailing address.
Got it.
Okay, are you fact-checking me right now?
Yeah.
No, I was just curious. It said New York above it. I was just checking.
Come on. Come on. You saw the picture. Can we show the picture? Wax Trax. Oh, I saw
the fucking New York in the picture.
All right. I thought you were like Wikipedia.
I like how Frank tried to fact check you and then got fact checked by his own image.
His own image that he selected that says fucking New York above Chicago in it.
Speaking of above. Wow.
Whoa, what was that? I missed it.
Whoa.
I missed it. What was that? I missed it.
Oh, my God.
4, the Chicago Dog. Amazing.
They just showed this picture early.
It's got to have it all. It's got to have... Actually, this picture is missing 2 things that I think are essential, which is the poppy seeds on the outside of the bun.
I'm a fan as well.
And then the relish needs to be that sickly lime green relish that you don't even want to know what's in it.
Neon, toxic looking.
But you got the hot peppers, you got the tomatoes, the fresh onion, the mustard. You can't beat it. The best place to have it, honestly, like I had looked this up before I visited Chicago for the first time, you got to get the hot dog at the Chicago O'Hare Airport. That's actually the best place.
Huh? For real?
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a whole documentary about the hot dog, and that's what they said.
Jesus,
so as soon as I got off the plane, I'm like, find me a hot dog cart. Only had to take 3 steps. I ran into the cart. The guy's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I want a hot dog. And I got this thing. It was amazing. I see Jordan's finger on the pulse over here. What you got, Jordan?
I thought you'd be the person to explain why the relish is so green, neon green.
Clue.
That seems like your lane.
Thanks.
So we're not doing that, though, right?
I don't know why it's green. I think it's some chemical, probably. Seems like it's
good.
Number 3, the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, shit.
Don't even get me started. Fucking amazing. I know the chat knows what I'm talking about. The Smashing Pumpkins hailed from Chicago. Their first show was at the Metro, famous venue, 1988. Billy Corgan still lives there. His wife and him actually run like a gluten-free bakery. I can't remember the exact neighborhood that they're in, but they still hail from there. Our own Ariel Helwani has interviewed Billy Corgan because he's also the owner of the NWA wrestling organization.
Yes.
So if those of you who did not know that, get to know it, go watch the interview. It's my favorite. Coming in at number 2, Chicago the musical, but more specifically the film. Richard Gere, Renee Zellweger.
Interesting.
So the musical, but
Jones.
the film of the musical.
I've only actually ever seen the film, but I watched it when it came out, like 2004, I think. And those songs get stuck in my head. It's probably my favorite musical that has been turned into a film. I should go, the 3 steps to Broadway and actually watch it for real.
Yeah.
But I'm like, as soon as there's no Richard Gere or no Catherine Zeta-Jones, I'm like, what am I doing here? And why am I out $600?
Yeah, fuck those theater people who have worked their whole lives to get onto Broadway and
you took
are
the words
probably
right out of my
incredible,
mouth.
and just fuck them too. Yeah, for sure.
Amen, brother. You got it.
Next.
My number 1 biggest contribution that Chicago has done to the world at large is house music.
Okay.
Need a moment of silence for the appreciation of house music.
So Chicago is the birthing place of house music?
Place. Not only that, there was a venue known as The Warehouse. And individuals like Frankie Knuckles, Larry Heard, these people would come and play. They would DJ entire sets using a style of music that was starting to form. And people would go to record stores and say, I want to hear music that I heard at The Warehouse. So they were like, oh, okay, yeah, we got that. Here's a copy. And then they started getting these questions so often that they went and actually labeled a bin in the records just called Warehouse. So then people just started colloquially calling it house music. I just want that house music. So that's where it got its name. We're talking those of us that live in New York, there's a huge house music scene out here, but it owes all of its origins to Chicago. So you can go through the pictures. We got people like Cashmere/Green Velvet. We got the picture of The Warehouse, which is the venue that I was talking about. I'm now being told by On-Air Jordan that didn't get loaded into the machine. But you can't have a list of top pound-for-pound things from Chicago and not mention house music. So I expect to see it on your guys' list.
Okay.
I might be in trouble then.
Yeah, I am absolutely in trouble with that one.
I like that list, Frankie. That was solid.
It was solid.
It was very frank, but also understood the
It
assignment.
was very frank. I like
enjoyed
what you did there.
It was very frank.
That was very frank of you, Frank. All right, who's up next, me or Rick?
It's you.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to this one. We'll get into it after the list. My thoughts on Chicago. Never been to the city.
Okay.
Here's my list of pound for pound.
Wait, by the way, we talked about that last week.
Yep.
When people were talking about Chicago. Frank, have you ever been to Chicago?
Yes, I described how I got a hot dog from the Chicago.
Oh, that's right. You went to the airport. Okay.
We don't have to
Thought it might have been a
argue me,
layer.
It's fine.
Might have been.
Yeah, no, it's totally.
Might have been a
Yeah,
layer.
it could have been a
Yeah,
layover.
you know what? I'm
Could have
just
been a
gonna take
layover.
off.
All right.
Bye,
Coming in
Frank.
at number 5. Frank, you just mentioned it. Richard Gere, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Renee Zellweger, Rob Marshall directing. Best Picture, 6 Oscars and 12 nominations, I believe it was. 13 nominations. Coming in at number 5, Chicago.
Also the movie and not the play.
All-timer. Love it.
Sorry, the musical.
Shout out. Great stuff. All-timer. Number 4, can't have Chicago without Chicago. Tony Award winning, Grammy Award winning, Olivier Award winning, Newworth, James Naughton. I'm talking about Chicago, baby. Number 4, I have got Chicago.
Chicago the musical.
Legendary.
Oh,
Shout out to it. Look at that. Chicago, baby.
Chicago.
Have you
All right.
been?
Number 3,
No.
what would my week be without? Chicago Wednesdays. Nothing better. Chicago Med, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire, obviously the best, the OG.
Right.
Chicago PD, a great competitor, but came along second. And then Chicago Med, more like Chicago Mid. Am I right? For people who know, Chicago Mid is by far the worst. And
What's
then
your favorite?
Chicago Fire, the OG.
Okay.
They named
Is this
it.
a sequel to Chicago Hope?
They named an MLS team after it. And then we got that unbelievable crossover episode back in January, the marathon, the 3 episodes where different characters go into different things. We got to get the fire involved, the PD involved, the med involved,
Med.
everything. Shout out. More like the mid, am I right? Number 2, Saturday in the park. Make me smile. Hard to say I'm sorry. You're the inspiration. I'm talking about 5-time Grammy award-winning, Grammy Hall of Famer, Chicago. It doesn't get any better than that. All-time shit. Look at them. Legends, baby. Legends.
Are you poking fun at us?
Shout out to Chicago.
God damn, that's a look.
Look at that, man. Absolutely killer. And then coming in at number 1, Robert Francis Prevost. I mean, you got the Pope coming from your city. You're going to have to represent. Look at that guy. Legend. Legend.
That's
this guy
not
is.
his name anymore.
He's not from Chicago. Well, when he was in Chicago, that was his name.
Okay.
Let's get a look. Let's get the Pope.
The Pope.
Shout out. Shout out. Chicago Sun-Times. Legend of the game. Look at him. That's him at a White Sox game, World Series game back in 05. U.S. Cellular. Yeah, shout out, man. Look at him up there in the corner.
The kid's
feel
angry.
feel like we should have showed the last picture first and this one. Look at him on the broadcast against the Astros.
The Pope on the broadcast.
Yeah, back when the Astros were in the NL. Good times, man. Good times.
So your
yeah.
list was Chicago, 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 Pope.
Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. Wednesdays, Chicago.
I forgot
Pope.
about the Chicago Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It's all
yeah.
Chicago on Wednesdays.
Yeah, never been to Chicago, so, shout out.
Fantastic list.
Wow, man.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to top that one.
There's no topping that one.
Chicago mid. I mean, you just
real
don't
ones
rip it
know.
apart.
My Chicago Wednesday, real ones that know ball, real ones know.
Okay, this is an important list to me because I have some friends in Chicago, and so I've got to kiss some babies and shake some hands
Ditka?
and make sure. Shout out Mike Ditka. He's not my friend, but I love him. One of the best mustaches ever. When you go to Chicago, pizza becomes a huge topic of conversation, right? You have your Giordano's, Lumalnati's, Pequods. My favorite, the one that I go to, Home Run Inn. Shout out to our friends
Oh,
at Home
wow.
Run Inn.
Someone tweeted at me. It was like, you cannot go Home Run In.
No, you must go Home Run Inn.
I love Home Run In.
Because
their frozen pizzas are my favorite frozen pizzas.
They have great
I'm not
frozen
bullshitting.
pizzas, but you can also go to Chicago and get Home Run Inn. Let's cut to
Crust
our
is-
next picture.
I'm a
crust.
fan of the Illuminati, or whatever it's called.
Lou Malnati's. Lou Malnati's is great, but you know where I go? I go to Home Run Inn
Shout out to Home Run In.
because
man.
they're friends, and I love them dearly. Shout out to
They are friends of the
Tessa.
program.
How hot do you think that pizza pan is that they're just holding
Listen,
with bare hand?
pretty hot, especially if you see how gooey that pizza is. Home Run Inn if you're in Chicago. That's where to go. Number 4, the MMA diehards that live in Chicago.
Dude.
Our fans that write in, as you said, comment every week on the Nose. Send us voicemails. Tweet us. DM us. send letters by snail mail. We're opening up letters. Oh, this is nice. Somebody sent us mail from Chicago. When the fuck is the UFC coming back to Chicago?
This better be sold out so fast. This better be the biggest gate in United Center history. Like this is.
Hamzat and DDP. It's gonna be sold out in a heartbeat.
If you just search UFC Chicago on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, like everyone is just like finally, and like one of them I saw, UFC coming to Chicago, I'll sell my left kidney.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding how diehard these people were to get an event back. Like, no other city was like, oh, yeah, like maybe is Kansas City going to get one? What about Portland, Oregon? Are we maybe LA or Sacramento? Like, you get those maybe once in a blue moon. I swear to God, it's weekly. People are like, when are we getting an event in Chicago?
Well, we've got an answer, and it's in August, and you got a great one. So shout out to all you. Shout out to everybody who has asked us. Now you have your answer. Number 3, we're going the Second City. Do you know what the Second City is?
No.
So the Second City is an improv like comedy house, but it has also been responsible for. I'm gonna just list some names from people that came out of Second City. Second City alumni.
Okay.
Fred Willard, John Belushi, Bill Murray, John Candy, Eugene Levy, Dave Thomas, Mike Myers of movie fame and SNL. Chris Farley, Tim Meadows, Bob Odenkirk, Steve Carell, Amy Sedaris, Stephen Colbert, Adam McKay, Rachel Dratch, Tina Fey, Tim Robinson, Tawny Newsome. That's a more contemporary one.
Just want to go back to that. Were you clarifying it was Mike Myers, the comedian, and not the serial killer in the fictional movie?
In case there was another Mike Myers that you were confusing. But yes, not the serial killer. Not the serial killer. I know you're a big Shrek fan, so I just wanted to...
Thanks,
it's that one. It's that one. I
appreciate that. I appreciate you clarifying.
Not that one. Yes.
This is kind of, do you remember the movie Baby Driver?
Yes.
Do you know how they wear the Mike Myers like mask?
It was not them. It's Mike Myers, creator of Austin Powers, Wayne's World. You know that Mike Myers.
Isn't in Baby Driver? Don't they get Mike Myers masks?
But I love the finger wagging. Like
they get the Mike Myers actor mask.
Okay.
The truth is, on the production, they screwed that up. And then they actually had to call Mike Myers, the actor, and ask him, like, are you cool with this? He's like, oh, I think that's brilliant. Like, you guys screwed up and you're going to play it into the movie. I just thought you would appreciate how the sausage was made.
I think we've talked about this before, but you know who the mask for the Mike Myers from Halloween was, right?
Yeah, it's
William Shatner.
Yeah, I was going to say Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. But anyway, suffice it to say, improv comedy, home of some of the most brilliant minds we've produced in comedy. It has been a funnel for improv comedy for years. I listed some of the like super notables. There's tons of people still continuing to come out of it. There's now multiple locations. They got Toronto, they got New York, but it is an institution of comedy. As an improv comedy fan, it means a lot to me and has produced some of my favorite people. So the Second City, and called the Second City because Chicago was called the Second City after.
You a fan of Taskmaster?
Yeah.
This one right here. Haven't seen it yet, but might get around to that. Okay. Number 2 had to be these next two are in. There's an elevation here. There's a gap. These next two mean a lot to me. They have been formative in my development in my life. Number 2, Garrett Popcorn.
Oh hell yeah!
If you don't know about Garrett,
I don't know about any of these things.
Oh my friend. I mean, you will know about this, but you will not know about Garrett. You will know about the combination of the cheddar and the caramel popcorn.
Love it.
Which I'm sure you've had many times.
Many times.
If you have had it many times, you have not seen Nirvana. You have not reached heaven.
Can we order this?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, none of us put this on our matches made in heaven, pound for pound.
Garrett Popcorn is the elevation of the medium, is the elevation of the form.
Okay.
Their caramel and cheddar together is unmatched. And now I have a friend who lives in Chicago. Shout out Tessa Hirsch. She gets a lot of shout outs from me. I would often, like, as an insult to her, I'd be like, any fucking caramel popcorn and any cheddar popcorn together is as good as Garrett's. It's just caramel popcorn and cheddar popcorn. I had it a few more times, and I was proven incorrect. Garrett is a special level.
All right, so that's
popcorn.
getting ordered the week of UFC 319.
It's a must. It's a must.
It is known as the Garrett Mix. Amazing.
It's the Garrett Mix. It is the OG.
You'll see off brands like just call it Chicago Mix. Got to get the Garrett.
Got to get the Garrett. Okay.
Garrett.
Shout out.
Number 1, His Airness.
Yeah.
Black Jesus. Michael
Sammy
Jordan.
Sosa.
He's from Chicago?
No, Frank, he played for the Chicago Bulls for a long time.
That's a football team, right?
Yes, that is a football team. Doubles. This man is one of the reasons I fell in love with basketball. At the time that I was growing up and my fandom was starting, he was dominating the 90s alongside the 90s Bills. If you've watched The Last Dance, you know this man, even if you had missed the prime of his career. He is the second best basketball player to ever play. I stand firmly on that corner. But an inspiration to many. Be like Mike, the spawning of Jordan sneakers that has now become what he's almost more known for in the popular culture. The second best basketball player ever. Somebody who inspired me to play basketball and love basketball. Michael Jordan.
Who's number one?
LeBron James. LeBron James is the best basketball player who's ever lived.
Not Kobe.
No, not even in the conversation for me.
Copy.
We can have that debate for another time. On an
basketball
off
players?
week, it'll be true GOAT, and the thumbnail will be basketball players instead of lightweights in the UFC. All right, I love that list. I think that was great. I think we all brought our A game, and yeah.
Some
Tough to beat
honorables.
mine. Tough to
Wrigley Field. I know you've never been, but if you do go, you must go.
Wrigley Field OG.
Wrigleyville, you got to expand it out. All the
Shout out.
bars. There's a bar that actually has a batting cage in it, which is kind of cool.
No love for US Cellular.
I was told to avoid that area.
Wow. No love for the
That's
Sox,
the White
man.
Sox.
Yeah.
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ferris
Shout
Bueller's
out.
Days Off. Millennium Park, where the Bean is at.
Bean.
Lake Michigan, Chicago River, St. Patrick's Day celebration, dyeing the river green,
Italian
deep dish
beef.
pizza,
ER?
Italian beef.
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray,
He kind of
Any
got like a
better?
secondary shout out for my
Yeah,
second
man.
city.
Barack Obama. Wow, no pop.
Will Ferrell's Harry Carey impression.
Will, I want to apologize. He doesn't speak on our behalf. Will Ferry.
The Home Alone house. The
Shout out.
original Home Alone house.
Shout out.
Shame.
Are you
Um,
looking at a list right now?
Yeah, my honorable
list that I
mentions,
made.
Frank.
Honorable mention.
Do you not wait? So you don't like
Honorable mentions
make a
the
list?
Rolodex in my mind, Lollapalooza, Perry Farrell.
So now we understand why your lists are always so trash. It's
Wow.
because
Chicago
you're doing it from memory.
architecture river tour sounds kind of lame. Wasn't really into it before I went. A lot of good information. You'll learn a lot about the Chicago Fire. Also, not mentioned on anyone's list.
Every Wednesday.
How about this?
Well, I was talking about the soccer team.
Oh, Chicago
the
Fire. though, but
toilets at the Chicago O'Hare Airport. I don't know if you remember these. They have plastic wrap around the toilet seat with this motorized thing that when you are done flushing, it rotates. So you have a fresh new piece of plastic on the toilet seat. Never seen that anywhere else.
I don't actually think Frank went to Chicago.
I think he just went to the
the
airport,
airport.
This is, wow. It was formative to see that.
I only think he went to the airport.
Just read a book set in Chicago called Dark Matter. The Bear, famous TV show.
Oh, shut up.
Mike and Molly.
That's Melissa McCarthy, right?
Yeah. OG Melissa McCarthy.
Shameless.
Shameless.
I feel like Ferris Bueller, though. That's
And
the big one.
above all else, UFC 319.
Oh,
Hamzat
lucky.
Chimaev versus
Lucky.
put a
Dricus
bow on it.
Duplessis. That's how it's done, Frankie. That's how it's done, which leads me to my next question. Did we get any voicemails this week, my brother?
Voicemails! No, we didn't.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
Hey, is this Janine from the bar last night? It's Glenn. I don't know if you remember me from last week, but I was at Palamanu's and brought you a couple Long Island spritzers, and I don't know, I feel like we hit it off. I feel like we had a good connection, Janine. So if you're gonna go grab a slice of za sometime, feel free to always hit up the Glenster. All right, Janine. Have a good one.
hit up the Glenster.
What the fuck?
I think
I think you got the wrong number.
I have a guess at who that was.
Yeah,
when he said hit up the Glenster, I know who that was.
Oh, it's not Glenn?
Should I say it?
I thought it was Glenn.
I think that was Ben the Bane Davis. I could hear in his voice
Oh,
when he said hit
nice.
up the Glenster. Plus, he loves Long Island iced teas.
It sounded like Glenn who was trying to do a misconnection with a young lady.
Glenn and Janine can't be a real couple in
Go
2025.
out for some za.
Boys. Eric from Detroit.
What's up,
I took
Eric?
an edible and left a message the other day, but you can disregard that. I wasn't fully there, and to be honest, I forgot what I asked. Question for all of you.
Yeah.
Dream blunt rotation with 3 fighters.
Rotation.
I'm personally going with Black Beast and Rampage for the humor, and Sandhagen for the introspection. Love the
Yeah,
show.
that's great. That's
Black
great.
Beast, Rampage, and Sandy is pretty good.
Really throwing us really throwing us here. Okay. All right. My first
I got
one,
a great one.
no doubt about it, is Volk because he's gonna cook us up something gnarly.
Oh, for the munchies after? Okay.
Post rotation. You go with yours while I think of my other two.
Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz would be fun.
George St. Pierre.
GSP,
Because
wow.
I think him high would be
I was gonna
absolutely
say, Zoo to
incredible
GSP
experience.
would be something.
And Nate Diaz? Do I just do the Diaz brothers and GSP?
Give me Darren Till.
Darren Till could be fun.
Who are you going with, Frank?
We don't care.
Who are you going with, Frank?
Darren Till. Duh.
Come on,
Just
man.
Darren Till.
Give me someone original. Give me one of your.
Mike Tyson.
Not a UFC fighter.
Since when? This is bullshit. They keep teeing me up for.
I'm struggling to think of a third one right now.
Neither is
I need
Darren
another
Till,
minute.
but that was okay.
Former.
Wasn't Mike Tyson in UFC 1?
No.
I need longer.
What about
I
like
don't wanna say
Sandhagen?
someone. Sandhagen would be cool. Yeah, Sandhagen would be cool.
What about Jack Della?
Jack Della almost like he's so chill normally.
Okay.
He might be too chill.
Could I just go for the...
Tai Tuivasa would not be a bad one.
No,
That
James
might be my
Tahuna
third
would be
one.
pretty
Shout out
incredible.
to James Tahuna, but Tai
Could I-
Tuivasa would not be a bad
I
one.
feel like here's what I would want to do. I'd want to be out of the blunt rotation and just watching and observing. So I'd put like a GSP and then I'd put like Khabib. Like I'd want to put like people who I would just want to observe them high and see how
Yeah,
they
I guess
act.
that's true. Like everyone has to smoke, so like Khabib would not be a bad one.
It'd be funny to just see Khabib high.
Just like, yeah, I don't think Khabib would be a bad one. Ty would not be a bad one. My cemented one is Volk, so he can cook afterwards. From there, I need,
You want the munchies
You
after.
gotta cook first,
I need to figure it out.
smoke up, and then eat.
This is a great question, though. That's a great question. Shout out to Eric from Detroit.
Yo, what's up, boys in the back? It's the new Pope. I just landed here in Italy, and I just ran into a huge problem. I need to stream the fights, if you know what I'm saying. So if you and Ariel can get a VPN deal and send that right over to me, that'd be huge. Nah, I'm just kidding. This is the manager at Connor's apartments.
What?
You're never getting your money back.
Oh my god, that's a deep cut.
That
So
is
I
a
thought it was the
deep cut.
Pope, but it's the manager.
that is fantastic on so many levels. That was tremendous.
What's up, boys? It's Kevin from Springfield, Mass. here again. Simply
What's up, Kev?
shout out Frank just because he skipped my answer last time.
Hell yeah.
So I guess just shout out to you, man.
Yeah, shout
You're
out,
the
Frank.
best one on the show. Nothing without you.
It is.
Wow, he
He's right.
skipped him and then he says he's the best
Right,
one on the
best
show.
one on the show. Nothing without him.
You remember? It doesn't matter. Yeah, shout out, man. Thank you. Much love.
All right, boys. I can't get on. You guys never let me do my voicemails. Never get on, but it's all right.
Here it
It's all
is.
right. Hopefully this
You're
one
on.
goes.
It's your
You're
day.
on, bro.
I'm gonna propose to my lady
Yes.
coming up soon.
Congratulations.
It's gonna be the couple days after the show airs. So wish me luck.
So we're
Best of
finding
luck.
out before
And
everybody.
maybe you guys will
Sure,
get
she's
a
listening.
What's
a
already
fan.
over, Frank?
fan out of a lady. You know, maybe get somebody's get all these girlfriends are talking all this smack on you guys. Maybe you'll
Yeah, girlfriends do talk
gain
a
a
lot of
fan. You
shit
give us
about
a
him.
shout out. All
No,
right.
we were just like
Girlfriends
average
hate
dudes.
Jamie, South Jersey. Let me know.
Jamie, South Jersey.
boys.
Shout out to you, brother. Best of luck this
They're
weekend,
probably
man.
engaged by now already.
Yeah, if not, best of luck. If so, congratulations, man. Yeah.
Jamie, call us back. Let us know how it went.
Yeah. Have,
Oh,
and
and if she's a fan,
If your
have the wife
fiance likes
tap in.
us.
Yeah. Let us know what she had to say.
have her call in.
Man, those guys are just so fucking average looking.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like they're just.
That's what it
It's like I expected like cooler looking dudes.
Look at them with their plain shirts and their average faces.
And what is with that guy and his takes? Oh my, they're just horrible.
They're
So
just
much
like-
conviction.
They're just like nothing people. I won't remember them
Nothing
at
people?
all. They're just so.
What if he's watching
Man.
the show right now and she's sitting next to him and expecting us not to play the voicemail and just ruin the
No, we
proposal?
played it.
I mean, he did what he did.
Here's to you, brother.
He opened the can of worms there.
Let's fucking go, boys.
Hell yeah.
I
Jasmine,
think this is him.
hit the drop, Frank. You fucking already know. He just fucking finished Jessica Andrade. I'm fucking hyped up. It's Jimmer.
Frank's not
Let's
gonna hit the
fucking
drop.
go.
Jasmine Jasovicius championship run is done now. She's going to be the fucking GOAT of the sport. Let's fucking go, boys.
You said it, not me. I'm praying that was at like 9:37 p.m. on Saturday night.
I have a feeling it was.
That was fiery.
Who was that?
The
Jasmine.
GOAT of the sport.
Jasovicius.
Wow. The win over Jessica Andrade cemented her over
The
Val.
GOAT. The GOAT.
Nice.
No, over Amanda Nunes, over Cyborg.
What's up, boys in the back? This is Thomas from Jackson Heights, Queens.
What's up, Thomas?
Just finished watching UFC 315 yesterday, and it was the first time I've ever watched your guys' basically play-by-play.
Oh, nice.
Watch party, whatever you want to call it.
Thanks, man.
And just want to say, it was freaking awesome.
Oh, sick.
Before I knew you guys were doing it, and I was like, I'm not watching that. But the first time I watched it, I was like, wow, these guys are good.
Must see TV.
Just the play-by-play, commentary, how you guys are just chill guys.
Just chill
I
guys.
fucks with it, man. So just giving y'all some props, and was wondering, would you guys ever be down to do some commentary for some UFC if given the chance? Because I feel like you guys would be great for it. Appreciate you, boys. New York Rick, appreciate you. Connor, Frank, James Tehuno. Anyways, love you, boys.
Wow, his impression was pretty good.
That was sick.
Shout out James Tehuno. Shout out Thomas from Queens. Appreciate you watching, brother. I thought he was going to be like, yeah, I watched it. It was terrible. Why do you guys waste
My
your time
girlfriend fucking hated it.
My girlfriend hated that shit.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you haven't seen a watch party, you may not know what you're in for. But like, when it comes to getting that guiding hand to walk you through the card that can get kind of long, like, we do it better than anyone.
I appreciate that, Frank.
I mean, it takes a village.
Yeah. Without you, it doesn't run. You know,
Absolutely.
Frankie. Without you, yeah. I was gonna.
Yo, boys in the back,
Yeah,
Sean Brady. You know, after I got off the horn with you guys, I started thinking about it, and my main beef with you, Connor, you sold me some bunk perk dirties, dude. I know you got the wicked black market cart game going on, dude, but like, I met you behind the Wawa, right by Vera's, and like the movie store, and you're like, yo, dude, get my Nissan. So like, I got in there, and then, dude, they were bunk perk duties. You think it's really worth my time to get on a bicycle, or you did?
Damn.
Fucked up, Connor. It's fucked up.
Sean Brady's mad at you, man.
Get on your TurboGrafx 16, baby. I'm taking you to town.
Shout out to TurboGrafx.
I love how Philly Sean Brady got recently. Sorry, man. Like, you gotta know that you're getting good cards before you buy them, man.
Oh, that's great. Also, the Frank video game stuff just always gets me.
16.
It's always
goated.
gets me.
This person knows.
It was Sean Brady.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Mitch from Perth. I'm going to tell you, it feels fucking good to be from Perth right about now. GC, just wondering, if the UFC bring take you to Perth for JDM's first title defense, what are the chances of you taking a trip down to Perth this year?
Man.
Yeah, thanks. Love you all. Cheers. Bye.
All right, first of all,
we doing it?
Shout out to Mitch from Perth.
Yep.
Dream place to go to is Australia. That is like number one. Like, I know I've talked with Pete, maybe even lied directly to his face and been like, Ireland's number one. Ireland is number two behind Australia. Australia.
Any specific city or just anywhere?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm Melbourne, Sydney, Perth. I'm not like 1,000% familiar with everything. I just know I want to go to Australia. I said to you guys earlier this week, my dream, I enjoyed tennis. Love going to the US Open here. Shout out. Dream would be to go out to the Australian Open, go to the men's final, and then chill in Australia all week. And then like last year it lined up, or earlier this year, it lined up Australian Open final on the Sunday, and then UFC Australia pay-per-view. I think it was who was it? DDP maybe? Who was it? 312?
Yeah, DDP and Strickland.
Yeah, right? That one lined up perfectly. Chill all week in Australia, and then you go to the pay-per-view. What is the chance that I'm going? I would say 30%, because God, it would be incredible to go down there. But furthest city from New York City, it is literally the other side of the planet. For us to get there, obviously not cheap, but man, it would be incredible to go.
It also doesn't seem like Jack Della's title defense is going to be in Perth, but it doesn't mean you can't go to a Jack Della fight, but that'll probably
next Australia card. starting to rack up the old miles, you know?
Yeah.
But boys in the back. What's going on,
Frank.
fellas? Shout out On Air Jordan.
Shout out Jordan.
New York Rick. Shout out GC.
Shout out.
Shout out Mysterious Frank.
Shout
we got Massimo from Long Island here.
Massimo.
Just wondering if you guys have any advice for somebody just starting out, trying to cover the sport. Just any kind of little bits of information or anything like that. I want to keep this one short. I know you guys told us not to ramble on too much. So, love the show and keep up the good work, boys.
I feel like that was probably Jordan's favorite caller because, one, they shouted him out first, and two, they were like, I'm not going to ramble, and I know you guys said not to ramble. Jordan's been on my ass about cutting them down.
Like, as he rambles.
Yeah. See, again, he
like,
can't make him happy.
Nice. Shouted out on it.
Massimo, strong name. Love the name Massimo, by the way.
Incredible name.
More of a Stoozy guy myself. But.
I know Jordan loved that one. In terms of advice, just study the sport, learn as much as you can about it, and then just start creating. If you're trying to get into coverage, whether it's writing, podcasting, social media, you just have to start creating now, and you'll just get better as you go along.
Yeah, definitely start creating content. My biggest tip, I bet, I've been telling people lately, especially like college kids and things like that, reaching out, anticipate where the sport is going to be in the next 3 to 5 years and try to tune your talent set toward that. Try to make your skills match with where the sport is going, right? Don't necessarily look at what people are already doing because there's people already doing that. The spots are limited. Think about what the sport is going to look like in a few years from now and start working toward building skills that will help you get there.
Don Davis, what's up, boys? This week's a big one for the PFL. We just launched our 24/7 free channel on Samsung TV, PFL Fast. So U.S. fans can now watch live events, weigh-ins, and classic fights anytime, no subscription needed. And we're not stopping there. We announced PFL Pacific, our 4th international league, launching in 2026 to spotlight talent from Australia and New Zealand. We're building the most accessible global MMA league in the world, and we're just getting started. Frank, did you ever play this game Steel Battalion? I know you're a big Xbox guy. It was a crazy game. It came with a big extra controller. And that's all I got this week. Boys, in the 40 seconds that have elapsed on this call, that's as long as it took for big news, Paul Hughes, to get it done. He made sure everyone in the U.S. could watch the clip on YouTube or LinkedIn, wherever you get your videos. See you next time.
What did he say? YouTube or LinkedIn? All right. I actually saw a podcast with Double D on it as I'm trying to frantically look for it to call out the name of the podcast. But I saw Double D on it mentioning us. Mentioning
mention us?
Oh, yeah. It was Frank, you shared the clip with us. It was here it is right here. He was asked about his beef with him and Helwani not coming on the show. The Bodkin show. We saw Don Davis come on. Very similar. He sounds just like he does when he calls in here. No video or anything like that. Shout out to Double D, man. It turns out that they do have a fast channel. 24/7 channel showcasing video content from the league's fight event library, vault episodes, and other archival original programming.
And if you can't watch Paul Hughes, you can get it on LinkedIn or YouTube. So
we have a 24-hour channel. Also, you can't watch Paul Hughes.
Don Davis knows his shit.
Don Davis knows ball.
Steel Battalion on the original Xbox. It's a mech game, right? For those at home that don't know, like you're driving a giant robot. Keys to my heart. But when you buy the game, it came with this full controller, double joysticks. You got all the switches to turn on the ignition. Just amazing. Don Davis.
Can you add Don Davis on Xbox already? For fuck's sake.
No, this is the original Xbox. So.
I know, but he just wants to play with you. All right.
This is Robert from El Paso, just saying, first-time caller, long-time listener. Y'all are awesome. Fuck Frank, though, because he sucks.
Oh, shit. I thought he was going to say Frank's the best.
Who besides Sean Brady would you be willing to take on in a bike race?
Anyone,
I
anytime.
think you could probably destroy anyone.
Wow.
Thanks. I agree. Felder, you up? Diaz brothers, you up? Whatever's good.
I believe you. Brady seems to be like non-committal.
Yeah.
And you sold him the perks, and it didn't go so hot.
Feels like it's not gonna happen.
It didn't go so hot. Feels like it's not gonna happen. 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 Feels like it's not g
What up, boys? I'm back. This is Matt from Chicago. I was
Shout out.
just calling in to say the most population-dense MMA fan walkers in the world, and we finally got it. We finally got an event in Chicago. UFC 319, Dricus versus Hamzat. Let's fucking go!
Let's go.
He's like in like a locker room.
Yes, that was pretty much
He's in the
it. Shout out
United
to all you guys,
He's waiting
and
for you.
especially shout out to New York Rick for this week for giving one of the worst takes I've ever heard of all time.
At least he's consistent.
Ilya versus Charles is not a bigger fight than Islam versus Ilya.
No,
it's
not
not a
bigger.
more entertaining fight. It's not a more exciting fight. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. But yeah, other than that, super hyped. Hope I can get tickets. And yeah, shouts out.
I was so
Shout out,
excited for him that he got the Chicago event. Then he criticized my take without even actually quite.
Also, how about that? Shout out.
Yeah,
Shouts
shout out.
out.
Shout out. Nice.
Was
Shout
he
out
the
to
one
him,
who
though,
said
man.
fuck Frank, or
Congratulations.
was that the one before?
one
No, that was the one
before.
before.
Congratulations on getting the Chicago card, man.
I think the actual phrase was Frank sucks.
No, first he said fuck you, and then he said you suck.
Shut
They
up.
go
Frank.
hand in hand. You're right.
Well. 24-inch dubs calling after game 5. Don't let the Celtics get hot.
Okay.
JT may be done, but we still
JT
got
done.
Jalen Brown. We
Still
got
got
Chris
Jalen Brown.
Stapps Porzingis.
Still got Chris
And we
Stapps
got my boy Luke Cornett.
Luke Cornett.
Don't let us get hot, New
I
York.
feel bad.
You
This
get,
is
you get a little itchy over there? Come
Little
on
itchy.
now.
Nah,
Come
they
out.
finish it in 6.
yeah, it's over in 6.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Poor 24-inch dubs.
Is there a little slur at the bottom there, at the end there?
I didn't hear what he said.
He's like slurring his words.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
It's
he had a
like-
few,
man, he said us.
Yeah, I thought you were saying he used the slur.
No,
he's-
no, come on.
You know, he probably
That's all the voicemails we have.
he's drowning his tears.
Everyone, don't forget, call us 415.
Sup, BITB? Any super chats,
Can
Frank?
we put that up? Can we film it?
Super chats. Yeah, we got a couple. Benny Avina says, "Happy birthday, Frank."
Hey, happy birthday, Frank. Coming up soon, man.
Coming up soon.
I was about to say it's not your birthday though.
Apparently, Helwani was in the chat earlier saying happy birthday to me. I think Helwani's confused.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It is your birthday month, and you've made that very, clear.
Yeah. So I respect it.
Doing anything special?
Yeah, I was gonna go with the boys to a steakhouse in a couple weeks.
Did you really make that reservation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Love it.
Jacob Garcia, guessing that he still wants to fight there. Who does Bilal now fight in Chicago? Also, I think JDM is a harder matchup for Islam than Ilia was.
Totally agree on the last part.
I agree with that just because of the size differential.
Yeah.
You're talking about a 145er and a 170er. Both obviously wildly skilled. Jack
Bilal
Taylor-
on the
Jack Taylor's
Chicago
on
card.
an 18-fight win streak.
Bilal on the Chicago card makes a lot of sense, but who's going to turn around?
Actually, it makes it makes a ton of sense. Give him 3 months off, 3.5 months off.
Do you do like Ian? If Ian and Brady don't want to do it, do you do Brady?
Do you give him the Brady rematch?
Yeah. I mean, you're doing Brady more of a favor there, but I guess
It's not going to be Shavkat. It's not going to be Leon. Winner of Buckley Usman?
Winner of Buckley Usman. Or, yeah, maybe you do Brady or Ian, one of those guys.
It's not a bad
bad.
shout.
He should probably fight on that.
Diet Picasso. Why does Charles get a pass for missing weight? A fighter's ability to consistently make weight should factor into the GOAT rankings.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? He's like far from the combo.
Yeah. I guess if you're mentioning me counting his win against Justin Gaethje because he missed it by half a pound and 155.5 and beat Justin Gaethje when the belt was on the line for Justin Gaethje. So, I mean, incredible performance.
Domi asks, is Eric an Islam fan? I can't tell.
Kinda. I like Islam.
Charger cast.
I like Ilia too, by the way.
Wow, okay. Are you done?
Yes.
Are you?
Oh,
done,
what
Frank?
the fuck you? What the fuck was
I
that?
wondered if you're done. I didn't want to cut you off again.
Are you still pissed about that guy that told you to fuck
Rude
yourself?
to- He said Frank sucks.
No, first he said fuck you though.
Oh, okay. They go hand in hand. Charger Casty 21. I don't know if Rick is reaching on his list or just knows Chicago's better than anyone here. MJ should have been one on everyone's
No,
list.
the UFC fans in Chicago should have been one on everybody's list. Not having the Pope on anybody's list, just me, is blasphemy.
No joke. Like,
Last
is
week
he actually from
the Vatican.
Chicago?
Where else would he be from?
I don't know. I mean, like, don't people come in from other cities?
No, he is from Chicago.
Okay,
no, am I
just didn't
crazy?
know. I was just wondering.
Wow, shows how much you know about Chicago.
I mean,
And then
honestly, Like I would have put 9 Inch Nails. They were based out of Chicago, but they were from Cleveland.
Not having Chicago.
Yeah, he grew up in Chicago.
If you didn't have Chicago or Chicago, no one else having Chicago on their list was crazy.
Which Chicago? The band?
Not having them is crazy, but also not having Chicago is also crazy.
So the only one that had the Chicago dog.
Yeah,
you are. But to Connor's point, he had a lot. He had Chicago and Chicago and Chicago
and one more Chicago. Hey, that's all of the super chats today.
We did it.
68. Shout out. No one say it anymore. No more. No more. Cannot say it. Let's go. Perfect day in my books. Perfect day.
We did it.
Books. Frank's list was God Tier from Liam Devine.
Anything else?
I think that's it. UFC Apex 106 this weekend. There's an Octagon card as well. Been looking forward to watching them fight lately. I think we settled the lightweight debate. I'm sure there will be no further discourse. No one will disagree with us. I'm sure
everybody's happy about how Ilia and Islam shook out. Everything's good.
Yeah, everyone's happy. Everyone's super content. Enjoy your weekend. Just a couple more weeks till June starts, and then, folks, we are hitting the ground running for a UFC summer that is sure to deliver. Watch The Crack tomorrow with Pete Carroll, and then we'll be back here on Monday with an Ariel Helwani show. But for now, that's it for us. See you next time.